I just have a few words.
Okay, friends, we're going to go ahead and get started. So it's 6 o'clock. For those watching tonight's meeting virtually, the meeting is available to live stream via the Park District website. All information about Park District meetings can be found at winpark.org under the Park District Info tab by selecting Board Meetings and Videos. Public comments are accepted in person. A link to the video and audio will be posted immediately following this evening's meeting. To improve the sound while listening to the meeting, please turn up the volume on your computer and turn up the volume on the website. The meeting packet for tonight's meeting is located on the website. For those attending tonight's meeting, the emergency exits from the room are the door behind you or through the foyer. To improve the quality of sound, there's a boom microphone directed towards the commissioners. The microphone will pick up additional audience noise and side conversations. If it's difficult to hear, please consider moving forward. This is a business meeting, not a sporting event, so we ask for your cooperation to maintain decorum. There's no clapping or booing. Please be considerate and refrain from interrupting board members and other speakers. We're a community coming together to discuss difficult issues in a civil and respectful fashion. Okay. Opening roll call.
Commissioner Jones?
Here.
Commissioner Lawson?
Here.
Commissioner Rath?
Here.
Commissioner Root?
Here.
Commissioner Seaman?
Here.
Commissioner Tyson?
Here.
Commissioner Kodo?
Here. Calling to order the May 22nd, 2025 regular board meeting. The first item of business is Commissioner Lussin has made a request to participate remotely in tonight's meeting. It is requested due to a qualifying event in 4.26 of the Board Policy Manual, Employment Purposes. Commissioner Lussin is currently online. May I have a motion to approve Commissioner Eric Lussin's request to participate remotely in today's board meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Yes, second. Okay, that's Tyson and James, and that's a roll call vote.
Commissioner James?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Rath?
Yes.
Commissioner Root?
Yes.
Commissioner Seaman?
Yes.
Commissioner Tyson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kodo?
Yes. Okay. Now, please stand if you are able for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah. Public announcements, item 1.3, Shannon.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Just for, if you haven't realized yet, so Lloyd Beach is now open for the season. And then as a reminder, the remainder of our beaches will open this weekend, and more information should be coming out tonight and tomorrow in regards to that information as well. The annual Lloyd Beach Bash is on Friday, June 13th with Mike and Joe Band, and registration for that is currently open. And as far as the beaches open this, warm Saturday that's upcoming, access is available to pass holders only on weekends and holidays. And then please join us for a ceremony this Monday, the 26th, for Memorial Day observance. The parade starts at 10 a.m. from the corner of Glendale and Elm, and then heads east to Village Green Park for a ceremony at 10:30. The first concert of Wednesday in the Woods series starts on June 18th at Hubbard Woods, along with children's concerts, and runs through the end of the summer. We have lots of things going on, so summer camps also begin June 23rd, and there are still limited openings remain. So if you haven't made your plans yet for summer camps, make sure you contact us about that. And then other events that we have coming up, as our 4th of July events and new events like Spinergy Rise and Ride on May 31st and June 1st, free family yoga days throughout the summer, and Oak Leaf puppet shows at Crow Island Woods. Okay. Item 1.4, we have had one request to change item 3.4, pull it from the consent agenda, and we will be moving that just below 6.1 under new business. It will be the second item
after 6.1. Are there any other changes to the agenda? May I have a motion to approve the May 22nd agenda as amended?
So moved.
Root, and second?
Second.
Crab, thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor, this is a voice vote.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, none opposed, excellent. Public comment, this is your opportunity to address the board on any issue. When called upon, please come to the central position in front of the commissioners. Stand at the podium and speak into the microphone, state your name for the record, and speak directly to the board. Based on the public comment policy described in the board policy manual and referenced in Public Access Counselor Opinion 2024 PAC 81900, guests may present public comment for no longer than 3 minutes after being recognized. If you prefer to share your comments in writing this evening, you may do so by leaving them with a member of the Park District staff. I'm going to move from left to right, so please raise your hand if you're on the left side of the room and you'd like to speak. Ted, please.
Hi, Ted Winchenko. So I had two things. So first, I was at the Spring Town Hall, and I was perplexed by the response to the caucus's plank, which suggested that, which said that the Park District should renegotiate the agreement with the property owner to the south about the quote-unquote donation. And what was relayed to the people at the Springtown Hall was that it was too early to do that because the permits weren't yet in. But that makes no sense. It makes little sense. It makes negative sense, right? Because if it's too early to renegotiate, then it was way too early to negotiate in the first place and accept that money. So it just seems to me like that's just a convenient excuse for choosing to not follow or not represent the caucus. And we can debate whether the caucus is a good thing or a bad thing. I think it's generally a good thing, although I don't think it's perfect. But the point is that just seemed kind of ridiculous to me. If it's too early to renegotiate, it was way too early to negotiate it in the first place. And the second thing is, I guess maybe I'm just being, I don't know, a little boastful here, I don't know, maybe. But I just felt I wanted to let you know, so I don't know how quickly process takes in the Cook County Circuit Court, but today the clerk accepted my summons about the violation, what I believe was a violation of the Open Meeting Act last year. So I guess you guys will file an appearance and then we'll move to discovery. Thanks.
Thank you for your public comment. Is there anyone else on moving from left to right who would like to make a comment? Please raise your hand. Please come forward.
All right. I've been waiting for my day here.
Thank you.
Here I am.
Say who you are.
Oh, I am Amy James, wife of Warren James, silent observer of all things Park District. First of all, I want to commend the members of the board and staff for being such excellent stewards of the Park District programs and services and assets. Your hard work is apparent. Winnetka has robust adult and youth programming, excellent facilities, well-maintained parks, and I know that it's greatly appreciated by the majority of our constituents here in Winnetka, so thank you. It's clear. The Park District gets things done. So congrats, you should be very proud. Also, I recognize that your work has not been without challenges. I've had front row seat to that for the past, 4 or 5 years. And I just have tremendous respect for your professionalism and your integrity in the face of adversity. And though this chapter is closing for Warren, I will continue to support the Park District's efforts going forward. It's very important to me. And I'm confident that the Park District is in good hands with Elise and Scott. I had a great time with them on their campaign, and I know they're going to be terrific. But needless to say, I've been counting the days to Warren's retirement from the Park District. And I know some of you know why. However, we've made some wonderful friendships, Warren, along the way, and I'm very grateful for that. And I want to thank all of you for supporting Warren's passion regarding our beaches. As you know, he can be quite passionate. You have been excellent sounding boards, strategists, and patient readings of his voluminous documentation. Warren, I know this is bittersweet for you tonight because your vision for Elder and Centennial is yet to be realized, and I feel the same. But your contributions to the Park District are much more than Elder and Centennial. Over the past 10 years, I've personally witnessed the countless hours you've devoted to bettering our community, and I'm proud of you. I admire your vision, your integrity, your intelligence, and most of all, your perseverance in the face of adversity. You are committed to doing what's right for the 14,000 residents here in Winnetka, and the Park District is better for it. I love you, and I'm looking forward to all the extra free time we're gonna have now that you have moved on from this part of the Park District journey.
Thank you. Thank you for your public comment. Thank you. Working from left to right.
So John Peterson, 545 Sheridan Road, to Commissioner Lusson and to Commissioner James. I guess I'd say the same thing that Amy said. You know, I do love both of you guys. To have gone to battle with you, to find all the ways in which you've contributed to the village through relationships with the library, the school district, New Trier, D36, you know, whether it's Crow Island Woods or, I mean, the list is endless of all of the accomplishments, and I think they'll be recognized later on tonight. And I just wanted to thank you for everything you've done, the countless hours, the teamwork, the support of staff, staying late at night, and all the things that we did over at the Hubbard Woods to host our board meetings over there and the ways in which you contributed. I admire your stick-to-itiveness, your perseverance, your passion, the love you have for the community, and the ways in which you've contributed to all the success. So, Commissioner Lusson, I know you're not here. I'd love to give you a big handshake, and Warren, I think I'll have a chance to do that later on this evening, but thank you for what you've done, and thank you, Commissioner Lusson. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, John.
If you want to speak in public comment, please raise your hand. We're moving from left to right. Go ahead.
Not that tall. My name is Elise Gibson Duda, and I'm a resident at 564 Maple Street, and I do want to thank Commissioner James. He is all heart. He's put so much into the Park District for the last several years, and we appreciate it. And I also want to thank Commissioner Lusson for all of his work. I'm not sure how he did it with 4 small children or younger children, but really appreciate all that time. But I would like to actually make public comment also about in the board packet, the affiliate agreements. And I just wanted to talk about, I wanted to encourage the board to think outside the box a little on this 51% limit for affiliate agreements. I'm not sure that it really reflects the relationship that the Park District has with these various organizations that provide wonderful sports services to our residents. Some of the organizations maybe use Winnetka Fields 100% of the time. Some are using fields all over the place. They're in Wilmette, they're in Glenbrook, they're all over the place. And I think that the 51% limit is sort of arbitrary because we really have to look at the organization and what their field use is, and then also how many Winnetka residents they serve. I totally agree that if they're going to be getting a friendly price, that we need to be sure we're not unduly enriching residents from other villages and townships, but by the same token, I feel like the 51% sort of per se limit is going to hinder the Park District's ability to provide great programming to our residents.
Thank you very much for your public comment. If I'm working from the left to the right, if you'd like to speak, please raise your hand. Okay. I don't see any other hands raised. Oh, please.
Good evening, Mary Garrison. I just want to say thank you to Warren. I'm not going to say I love you, but I do want to say thank you. And to Eric, apparently he's not here, but Eric, thank you to Eric also. And thank you to Colleen for serving on the last board. I wish the new commissioners great success, and I'll be around. You'll have a good time. That's it.
Thank you. I'm looking for the raised hand. We have some tall people. Susie, please come forward.
I'm not a tall people.
No, we have some tall people in the front row, so they were blocking some hands. So I apologize.
This is short people time.
The microphone is ready for you.
Okay, we got to make this short too. Good evening, and my name is Susie Schreiber, and I'm here today to back up the invitation to the Winnetka Memorial Day observance, the 98th one in our village. And I have a program for each of the board members tonight. And please know that the QR code is activated. Use it. This was done by an Eagle Scout who did the research with a ton of help from many other members of Winnetka Scout Troop 20 and many other members of the village who've helped. And it represents the bios of all 94 names on the cenotaph. And we are dedicating the plaque on Memorial Day this Monday. In lieu of an address, we're going to dedicate the plaque. So thank you to all, and you know who you are who helped with it. And I would also like to request that the flag on the village green be raised to full staff. It still has not been raised, with all the other flags having been up. And please get some graphite and put it in the lock, and please get the halyard straight so that on this day we have the flagpole working well, because the cenotaph and the plaque pedestal have been beautifully taken care of. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any other people who wish to speak in public comment? Please raise your hand. Okay. I see no other raised hands, so this will close public comment. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Does anyone wish to have any item? Does anyone wish to have any item removed from the consent agenda? We've already removed 3.4. Without objection or request for the removal of any specific item from the consent agenda for individual consideration, we will act on the following items with a single vote. I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Ruth and James, that's a roll call.
Commissioner James?
Yes.
Commissioner Lessing?
Yes.
Commissioner Rapp?
Yes.
Commissioner Roach?
Yes.
Commissioner Seaman?
Yes.
Commissioner Tyson?
Yes.
Commissioner Coco?
Yes. Item 4 is presentations. First is the proclamation for Water Safety Month. So Elisa, would you like to say anything, or would you like me to read the proclamation?
May is Water Safety Month, so we have our annual proclamation, yeah?
Excellent, okay. Whereas the Winnetka Park District recognizes the vital role that swimming and aquatic-related activities play in good physical and mental health and enhancing the quality of life for all people. And whereas the Winnetka Park District community is fortunate to have beautiful beaches, and whereas the Winnetka Park District understands the essential role that water safety education plays in preventing drownings and recreational water-related injuries, and whereas the Winnetka Park District recognizes contributions made by the recreational water industry, including organizations involved in the National Water Safety Month Coalition, have done much work in developing safe swimming facilities, aquatic programs, and related activities which provide healthy places to recreate, learn, grow, build self-esteem, confidence, and a sense of self-worth which contribute to the quality of life in our community. And whereas the Winnetka Park District recognizes the ongoing efforts and commitments to educate the community on water safety issues and initiatives through its Beach Safe Water Safety community-wide campaign. And whereas communicating water safety rules and programs to families and individuals of all ages is vital. And now therefore be it proclaimed by the Board of Park Commissioners of the Winnetka Park District that the month of May is hereby designated as Water Safety Month. We urge all residents and visitors to join us in promoting water safety by taking part in our aquatic programs, learning essential water safety skills, and being vigilant around water bodies. Let us work together to ensure a safe and enjoyable experience for everyone in and around the water. Given under our hands and seal on this 22nd day of May, 2025. Okay.
Do you want a group picture?
Thank you.
Can I make a comment?
Yes,
Water safety?
Yes.
I've spent thousands of hours on the water, made many saves. The term is in the blink of an eye. If you see something, intercede, don't be shy. We've seen lives change in the blink of an eye due to bad decision making. Water safety has to be taken seriously, so please be vigilant and do your part.
Do you want to take a photo?
Yeah.
Okay. We're all going to stand, we're all going to gather, and we'll all take a photo.
Huddle by the flag?
Yes, huddle by the flag.
Snuggle in.
I gotta close this door.
Here. Good. I'm gonna check in the lighting. I think that's good. Thank you.
Item 4.2 is the Winnetka Ice Arena Facility Review Request. That will be Shannon.
And I will directly turn it over to Brent and John to speak for the Winnetka Hockey Club.
Hi, everybody, glad to be back. Is this on?
Press the button. Hold the tab.
All right, I think we're working now. Okay, good. Nice to be back. Just by way of reintroduction, John Wilson, 979 Oak Street, past president of the Winnetka Hockey Club. I have 4 boys who play hockey. I played hockey in the area. I've coached for almost 12 years. Big part of my life.
Brent Kozel, 888 Ash, current board president, 3 kids that play, 2 daughters and a son, and coached here for 5 years now. I've been on the board for 4. So we were asked to come back up here to kind of go through our proposal again and have a specific ask of you guys to continue to work with the Park District. Put together a quick PowerPoint slide here.
Go ahead.
Got it?
Yep.
Just to give you an idea of the scope of our program, 350 players. We're one of the largest programs in the state, clearly not one of the biggest towns in the state. This does not include, we have a combined program with Wilmette, the Bantam program. At the Bantam level, kids tend to want to play for New Trier as soon as they can, so we lose depth and it just made sense to combine with Wilmette to field safer and more competitive teams. Wilmette has pulled out of that agreement, so we're back on our own now. So those numbers will be changing. And we recently partnered with the Winnetka Park District to start an awareness state or play program through, often through the Park District, but run by our coaches, which has been great success and is growing, and we are getting more and more players out of that program, which has been very exciting for us, and it started last spring, so it's in its infancy. Just to give you an idea of where we stand in the scope of the state, we're not here to brag about our success, but we are a small community-based program, but we are proud and we've been very successful. The big ones here, I mean, the CUHL is the MITE programs. That's a new league, so that's why that number's a little bit smaller, but we've won 2 in the last 2 years, not including the 2 I've lost in the last 2 years. But ultimately, we feed to New Trier. And New Trier's record, stands for itself. 21 state championships, including the last 3, and the girls won again this year. So it's what we are doing, we believe we are doing it right, and we live in a world where people are driving an hour to play for different programs and be recruited to play for X, Y, Z. We are Winnetka, Glencoe, Northfield, and a little bit of Kenilworth, and that's it. Occasionally, somebody will come to our director and ask to play or ask for a spot on the team. They try out like anybody else. And maybe they make it, maybe they don't. But we stick to our catchment area of New Trier. And that's something that's very important to us. And again, community-based sports in anything just really doesn't exist anymore. I'm starting to see, my oldest kid is 9 years old. And there's people driving all over the northern suburbs to play sports, which...
I need to interrupt Brent just for a second to provide context. To our knowledge, we're the only club in the entire state, and maybe even the Midwest, who self-imposes geographical boundaries for who can play for our club. Everybody else, it's the Wild West. You can go all over the place. And when he's talking about people and families driving an hour to play, it's not just the top kids anymore. It's everybody. It's all over the place. I mean, we truly serve our community. We're very proud of that.
Yeah. This has been a loss of focus on youth sports, and we're trying to buck that trend the best we can, and we think we're doing a pretty good job. Just a brief history. Billgrass, when it started at Indian Hill, I don't know if you guys still flood that. I know the weather doesn't really cooperate in the wintertime anymore. That's where our program essentially started. As you can see, we did a referendum in 1960, long before John and I were born, failed. And it was built by some members of the club that raised the bonds and built it, and we turned it over to the Park District, and we've been in partnership with you guys ever since. Original member of NIHIL, which we'll touch on later, non-for-profit, completely all volunteer run from the board level. We have 2 full-time employees, and we have some contract employees that are coaches. This is important to us, and we spent hours writing this to get it exactly how we wanted it worded. We want you to be great at hockey. We're more about developing the whole person. And if you become good at hockey on the side, that's great too. But that's our mission that we state on our website, and we practice and preach that. Some more information about our club. As John touched on, community-based hockey, one of the largest in the state. According to the Park District, we currently contract approximately 70% of all contracted ice. We are your biggest tenant. Prior to the other Park Districts building 2 sheets, which is our end goal, we purchased more ice from the Park District than any other club in the state. And if we do get the 2nd sheet, we'll go back to that ranking. And we believe that Ice Freedom generates more positive cash flow than any other asset the Park District has. We don't know if that's true, but that's what we've been told. We went through this last time we were here. Current rink, 53 years old. Significant repairs are coming. We know that. We'll come back to this. No longer meets the needs. We're going to go deeper into that. Right now, we estimate that the ice here next door is taking care of about 40% of our ice needs. We're using Watts more and more. We're using our facility at North Shore more and more. Big one for me, we can't meet the most basic needs of females. mean, I told the story last time, we had a camp here last summer, and we had, girls were taking turns to get dressed in the referee's room, while the boys had the floor in the locker rooms. And that's just, that inequity has never sat well with me. And you go to these rinks around our community, or around our surrounding communities, they have the facilities to accommodate the most highly growing portion of the sport, which is the female population. Another one that scares the heck out of me is because of the lack of space, the Zamboni's got a drive-through where all our 3, 4, 5-year-old kids are walking through, and I mean, our kids don't always realize there's a huge machine coming at them. And I know the rink manager also harps on this. The current configuration is very dangerous, and we would love to find an adequate solution for it. Or given the constraints that we have, this is the best we can do right now. So back to the community needs. John, I think you want to talk about a few things, and I will come back.
We touched on this a little bit last time, but as Brent mentioned, the current facility here meets 40% of our club's needs. Most of the rest of it that we satisfy is out at North Shore Ice Arena. And the way all these pieces fit was when I was president of the club, the Warhawks, which is the girls' club at the time, which the Winnetka Hockey Club, in tandem with the Northbrook Hockey Club, it was a joint venture. They created this club for girls hockey that wasn't available unless these two clubs worked together to create it. And the Winnetka Hockey Club donated ice, and the Northbrook Hockey Club donated some ice, mostly at North Shore Ice Arena. And this was not long ago. This was less than 10 years ago, and it was sort of this thing that everybody said, "Hey, let's kind of try this." And there's, I think there was maybe a couple of teams, and the Warhawks are a big club of their own now. I mean, it is growing hand over fist, and they've got several hundred players of their own by my last I heard. And their president reached out to me, and these are largely, a lot of these girls are from here, right? These are we created it. And their president reached out to me and said, "John, I have a huge problem. I had to buy 1,000 hours of ice in Buffalo Grove last season for $640 an hour. We pay roughly $340, $350 here. So in essence, I'm like, and I have 4 boys, okay? Brent's in a little different situation than me, but I'm like, holy cow. So we're telling girls who want to play hockey in our community that they have to drive 3 to 4, maybe 5 times further in rush hour traffic and pay twice as much just to play. And at the same time, I was having friendly but tough conversations with New Trier because ice is such a precious commodity. And New Trier is one of the biggest in terms of number of players, high school club sports in the entire country. We're talking about Minnesota, like Shattuck St. Mary's is like the creme de la creme of programs. They don't have more teams than New Trier does, as far as I know. And so New Trier told us, well, we would have 2 more teams if we had enough ice. Okay, so they have all these teams and they're cutting 2 teams worth of teenagers who still want to play because they don't have the ice for these kids to play. And they say, well, you either can't play or you have to go to Buffalo Grove or wherever one of these places. And in the meantime, we feel like we don't have enough ice as a club. So in other words, the way all these pieces came together was we all agreed we don't have enough ice. And at the same time, we started to hear from staff at the Park District, the current facility needs a lot of work. And we're like, well, that's really convenient timing because we have some needs too. So we went through a series of conversations where we talked about respective needs and what we want to do and what the Park District needs. And I think I'm sort of rehashing what we talked about largely last time we were here, but there's going to be an ask at the end of this, but we're hoping to continue that process to land on something that meets the Park District needs and as many other stakeholders as possible and be thoughtful about this. But this really started, we're hockey guys, so this is a hockey and frankly probably other skaters need as well.
One thing about the girls hockey that I should touch on, so our landscape continues to change, it feels like almost monthly. So Nihil, we talked about earlier, we were a founding member. There was two tier two leagues in Illinois. Nihil is now becoming all girls. 6 clubs that we know of have already applied to start an all-girls program within Nile. We would have if we had the ice. We're still contemplating it. We're trying to figure out how we're going to do that with our current ice. But we have all the girls. Or not all, a lot of them. But we can't commit to that until we know we have the ice. And this is going to be a league that we think is going to take off. Some other small stories about the lack of ice. I mean, we have the ice show every spring, which is great. I love that the community does it, gets behind it. That pushes all our time slots back on average. I think it's about 50 to an hour every day from our normal fall slots. So we have 7-year-olds. Every time my kid goes to hockey in the spring, she goes to bed at 7 o'clock if she doesn't have hockey. She hasn't been to bed before 8:30. She's a 7-year-old. And that's just not, we can do better than that. But because of what's going on in the spring, that's the best we can do with our given ice slots. I mean, I'm gonna go after this, go run her practice, and she's gonna be home about 7:45, 8 o'clock, eat dinner, take a shower, it's gonna be 8:30. That's, maybe I put my kids to bed too early, feels pretty late. And the last thing, John talked about the cost of ice. Our other facility in North Shore, we pay market pricing. The Park District, we go into long-term contracting with, and we get what we think is a pretty good deal. We were able to have the 2 sheets at the current pricing, or anything close to the pricing. Our idea is to pour those quote-unquote savings into more community-based stuff like learn to play, learn to skate, stick and puck, to offer more and also to bring the price point down. All sports in this, at least this area, are too expensive. Hockey's certainly not innocent of that. We'd love to bring the cost of play down for all in our community. So we went through the needs assessment survey. You can see not a ton of people responded, but your top 4 things that people, I mean, pool's always going to be on there. You guys know that, you've seen that for years. But indoor sports recreation center, which is what we're aiming at here, which would also be coupled with the arena. And then we just took some of the info from the needs assessment survey. Again, see ice rink up there, 70%. This question, I don't know how it was worded differently. Ice rink is number 1, as highest priority. And the caucus annual survey, which was earlier, I think in, was it the fall?
It was before the Park District, but I don't remember the exact timing.
And then you see recreation center ice rink there again. These are some of the comments that we pulled, which just speak to, people love the facility, but it's tired, it's old, it needs some work, and it doesn't meet what we're trying to do anymore. Our parents go to the other rinks around us, Evanston, Wilmette, or sorry, Glenview, they've built their new facilities, and it makes you think what's going on in Winnetka, and we think we can do better. So our ask, really simple. We don't expect to know exactly what this recreational facilities, what the people in this town want, until the comprehensive master plan, which, is that still on track for July release? So all we ask is that in that time, as the Park District needs, we don't plan to call any meetings, but if they want to talk to us, that they're allotted 25 hours to us to continue to explore what might go in this building until we know exactly what you guys want.
As a little bit of surrounding context to that ask about 25 hours, so as most of you know, we've had a series of informal conversations over close to 4 or 5 years now with...
Back to John Peterson's days.
Yeah, John was here earlier. We can't come up with a plan to present to the Park District that could be anywhere near considering all of the stakeholders and the possibilities and the Park District needs and everything. We have to be able to engage the Park District on this to size up what should go in here, right? So that we can say, look, it meets these needs and these needs and these needs. This is a process. It's not like we're going to walk in here one day and go, here it is. We want to get to a point, and we touched on this last time. In the hockey community, we firmly believe that we can fund this project through donations. So we don't anticipate asking for a financial contribution from the Park District, but we need to know what we can ask, what we're gonna ask for. We don't know what the price tag is. We don't even know what's going in the building. And we went through some of that process with a design firm and looked at some of the engineering, and learned a lot about the floodplain and, you know, all these things, but we're not done yet. And so the ask is, I hope the Park District staff would agree that we've been respectful of their time and not abused it, but at this point, we would just like to continue that process, and the specific ask is, until the comprehensive master plan, the results are released, we'd like, you know, up to 25 hours of the staff's time to continue this process.
Which I don't think we spent 25 hours with you guys in 5 years. That was another movie later.
Okay. You have an action item. I didn't mean to prematurely finish your presentation, but you do have an action item later in the agenda under new business, at which point we'll discuss it and take a vote. So I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
If people have questions for you, we can either ask them during the consideration of the memorandum of understanding, or we can ask them now.
I know Brent has to coach, I'm not trying to interfere with your
Yes.
agenda here, but.
Yes.
The memorandum of understanding though doesn't cover the ask of the 25 hours. Are you planning to?
That's,
Separately?
yeah.
They are two separate items. So the memorandum in regards to the affiliate agreement, that's a different topic.
Okay, so you want us to go ahead and vote on the 25 hours?
I think discussion is
Okay,
warranted.
perfect.
Whether or not the board decides to make a motion, that's up to the board.
That's fine. Okay. Any questions? Okay, we have a request for 25 hours of consulting with the Park District. Go ahead, I see your hand.
No, it's fine. Maybe you'll knock some of mine out.
I did.
I appreciate that you come back with a specific ask, a specific request for a specific amount of time. I guess my question is, and you may have already said it and I missed it, but at the end of that 25 hours, what are you expecting to have? Is it a specific document, a certain level of planning that would kind of define the next step? Is it something that would be a presentation coming back to us? I'm just curious what that would look like at the end of the 25 hours.
Well, all we're asking for is if they have questions of us, that we can have discussions. Right now, we've cut off all active communication since our last board meeting. We're not gonna know what we want until a comprehensive plan comes out, or what the constituents want. But we just wanna have that open line of communication if necessary. I don't see us having a ton to talk about until we get that plan back, but we're just trying to keep the lines of communication open, that's it.
Okay. Thank you.
I had some, is this working? Okay. I had some questions, because you had some of your participation stats for the current season. And this will lead into some of my questions for the affiliate agreement.
Yep.
But, I would really like to understand the historical, trend of participants, resident participants, non-resident participants, where they're from. And so, to me, that's a bit of a gap that we don't have that data. We're supposed to be fact-based and, using data, and I feel like that would be very informative to understanding the case, understanding the, are we building something for non-residents? Are we building something for residents? And just kind of getting a view on that in a more concrete way.
Yeah, going through the new contract, we did look that up the best we could. I know parts of Northfield are part of the Park District and not, but I think it was, so we can only look at addresses. I know Indian Hill is not technically part of the Park District. I think it was about 56% are Winnetka addressed. But I'd say roughly 98% are within Glencoe, Northfield, Kenilworth, or Wilmette, within the New Trier Township, or the New Trier School catchment area.
So we don't have the historical data, though?
As far as participation numbers or where they're from, I
Yeah.
have no idea. We changed our database 2 years ago, the tracks, you want to know what the addresses are like 10 years ago?
Yeah. And the Park District really doesn't have that?
We don't monitor private organizations' data.
Okay. I'm just going to be honest about it. It is perplexing to me that we have had affiliate agreements in place since 2016. And at the committee meeting where these affiliate agreements were formulated, I mean, there was a specific directive for staff to be collecting the roster and address information. So it is really surprising to me that no one has that, even though it has been in signed agreements for almost 10 years.
That's the first I've heard of that. If the Park District has such a directive, I know when I was president, I was never asked for it. So if there's an ask and we can get it.
There's not just an ask, there's a signed contract that says you shall provide it. So it would be something that would help your case to have more information about the participation. And
Commissioner Rappin, we have been working diligently over the last few months to try and clean up those agreements, try and get that information and advise our affiliate groups of that, and that's going to come up later when we talk through the affiliate presentation. So that's kind of a different conversation than this in regards to the facility itself. But as far as the data collection previously, yes, we were not sufficient in collecting the data that was in the affiliate policy 17.07 of the board policy manual. And that's at no fault of anyone from staff to the hockey club to the board members, anyone that's in here at this time. It is just something that is a relic of the policy that was never looked at until recently, and we're looking at correcting that, and we'll talk more about that in the affiliate presentation.
Can I make a comment?
I can add that.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Christina, David.
Oh, go ahead, David.
The issue is not the affiliate agreement. This is a no-brainer for this park district. I don't want to speak for Shannon and staff in 25 hours, but we have a group that's coming to us that says they don't need our money, and they actually want to build a brand-new multi-purpose facility. That's one of the easiest decisions to say, yeah, let's take a look at it. So, we can talk about affiliate agreements when that item comes up on the agenda, but I think in caucus surveys, our recent Park District questionnaire, we've had consistent interest in, I'll call them multi-purpose, be it a pool. I know that's not the main driver of this, but this is a no-brainer. I would encourage staff, board to say, yeah, you got 25 hours. Let's talk.
Yeah.
This is an easy one.
Thank you, David. You said what a lot of us are thinking. But
it's board discussion time, right?
I just have one thing to add to Commissioner Rapp.
Please let us have our say.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys are great. I am so happy you guys have taken the time, the commitment to lead a program. That's hard to come by. So I applaud you for your volunteer effort and your enthusiasm. I'm going to give you some advice. Tighten it up. Tighten up your presentation, tighten up the ask. I think you would benefit greatly from 25 hours of time with staff, just so that you can come back and be guided by staff at how to be successful. Okay? Like David, if somebody's coming to us, we've got a 53-year-old facility that you guys built or paid for, and we know we've got to address it in the future, and you've got the energy and the enthusiasm to go raise the money, we should be saying thank you, which I will. Thank you. Thank you for your commitment, your enthusiasm. Let's please spend the time to bring some guidance and direction so that we can help guys that obviously aren't professional in this arena, give them the guidance, help them be successful, and serve the community. Thank you.
Okay, so I don't want to cut off any conversation regarding the ask for the 25 hours. Are there any questions specifically related to the 25 hours? Commissioner Ruth?
I don't know if it's specifically related to 25 hours, but it's a question of the executive director. Supposedly, we will have further details on our comprehensive plan in July, is that correct?
We will have our comprehensive master plan to the board, hopefully for adoption. It will be brought, whether it's adopted or not is the hopeful, in July. That's the plan, and then the strategic plan will come after that.
Okay, and thank you, first of all, gentlemen, for recognizing the needs of our girls, because I hear all the time girls don't have ice and they're upset about it, so I want to really thank you for that. But my question of the executive director is, if we defer this allocation of 25 hours until after the presentation of the comprehensive plan, and that's a question to you, is that really going to be that problematic? And here's my concern. We have, as a board, an ethical duty to represent all of our constituents in a fair way, so that we're not giving any particular favoritism or even the appearance of such to any one interest. And so if this waits until August, is that a problem?
Is that a question to us?
That's a question also
Okay.
to you. Yeah.
I would say it's not ideal. I don't know if I would classify it as a problem. I think that the way this has sort of gone informally is we're trying to feel out, I think the Park District and the Winnetka Hockey Club, because we came to a very early understanding in informal discussions that there are a lot of stakeholders here, right? And we may not even know who they all are yet. And I think that the conversations that we've had with your staff those have facilitated the discovery of additional stakeholders. And because we run one of the bigger clubs locally, there's communication that goes on between us and other sports clubs, right? So I think that if we cut off the discussion and the exploratory nature of this, I think it's not ideal. And so you could, look, let's just say that in August we come and the Park District understands exactly what the hockey club needs, the hockey community, the girls, New Trier, Winnetka. There's still going to have to be an exploration and discussion with additional stakeholders, right? So I think we should continue the conversation to flush out as much as possible in advance of discussions we know will come later. And again, that's something I said last time that we were here is we're not asking for your approval to go build an ice rink right now. We're just asking for a little bit more leeway to continue these conversations because every time we have one, we learn something new that maybe we didn't expect when we started the conversation. And so I think that the constructive nature of this, I think if we stop it, Colleen, respectfully, I think that would just be less than ideal. I don't know if I would call it a major problem, but I don't see the point in doing
One
that.
follow-up question. You talk about fleshing out more stakeholders. Can you be a little more specific on who you foresee those may be? Are these all hockey people? Or are you really talking about reaching out to the pool people and visiting also with them?
Pool people have reached out to us.
I figured they had.
Yeah,
Okay.
and this is like we don't even know who all these people are sometimes. But the more that this gets attention, the more somebody weighs in, and that's a good thing. And so if we cut this off, I think it gets less attention, and everybody thinks it's on hold. And I think you're having less people in the community having an opinion on this and having input. And I think that's a bad thing. And so other stakeholders, we reached out to New Trier Athletics. Brian Dahl, who's the coach over there, was my co-president at the hockey club. We reached out to lacrosse. We reached out to, basketball. We're trying to invite anybody and everybody to have input on this because we don't want to get to the day that we are standing here and asking you to allow us to do this project. And somebody walks in and go, you didn't ask us. Right? We don't want that. So we're trying to be as diligent and thorough as possible. So respectfully, Colleen, I would just say that cutting that off at this point would just be not very constructive.
I think you have hit my concern, and that is, I don't want this to be perceived that there's any sort of special interest here. You are being very broad in your outreach as far as all community needs. And I mean recreation center, I mean pool. Because, you know, we had a campaign here where it was get me some ice. And there is a perception by certain members of the community that, you know, this is a special interest. And I'm trying to avoid that perception and to be very fair and balanced.
Sure,
So thank you for
we do
your-
absolutely have our interest, so.
Of course you do.
Yeah, and that's how this started.
Sure.
But we also understand that this group is not gonna let us do what we need to do unless you're satisfied that it represents the broader needs of the community.
Thank you.
Right, so we're mutually aligned on that.
Okay. We have one commissioner who's remote, so Eric, Commissioner Lawson, if you have any comments or questions for these gentlemen before we move it to a motion and a vote.
No, I would just echo Commissioner Seaman and Commissioner James' comments, so thank you.
Okay. May I have a motion? Sorry.
That's later in the meeting, isn't it?
I can ask my question after the motion,
During
during the
affiliates,
discussion.
okay,
No,
sure.
during the discussion
Sure.
of the motion.
Yes. Mhm. May I have a motion to authorize 25 hours of staff time to conduct a facility review with the Winnetka Hockey Club?
So moved.
So moved.
Okay, that's Lawson and Tyson. Discussion?
Just a question for our executive director. If other organizations wanted to come forward with a similar ask of 25 hours of staff time, is that something that we would reasonably be able to accommodate?
The precedent has been set. We did the same with the paddle club as well.
Okay.
Correct. Okay. Any additional discussion? Everybody got their thoughts out in the course of the thing?
And
Sorry, go ahead.
are the materials from prior studies available publicly at this point?
The feasibility study for yeah, that was, what meeting was that? February or January? Somewhere, so it was a part of one of our previous public agendas, the feasibility study.
Okay, I wasn't sure if the actual work from Rain and Associates was
Yes.
in its entirety.
Yes.
Okay. Are we ready to vote? Any additional discussion? Okay. Lisa, that's a roll call vote?
Commissioner James?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Rapp?
Yes.
Commissioner Root?
Yes.
Commissioner Seaman?
Yes.
Commissioner Tyson?
Yes.
Commissioner Coyle?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
I know we use a lot of time, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I was made aware that there's an issue with the stream if you're watching it through Diligent on a particularly small device. So iPad, iPhone, if you watch it via YouTube or on a large desktop monitor, we have no issues. So there haven't been any disruptions to the stream, but if you watch it on Diligent, you're gonna have some trouble.
Okay. On a phone or an iPad?
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, the stream is working just fine on the laptop, so thank you.
Great. Okay. Item 4.3 is the affiliate presentation. Lisa?
Good evening. Right, I have James with me because James supports a lot of the athletic affiliates here. So we are presenting an overview of our affiliates to you tonight. Most recently, we've brought a couple affiliate agreements to the board. We have a couple more that are soon to be expiring. We thought it would be a good time to kind of give you an overview of all the affiliates, a little bit of history, and then seek some direction on some guidance to move forward with our affiliate organizations here. So, without further ado, so the Park District itself offers a variety of programs. We'll focus on some sports programs. Some of them are provided in-house with internal instructors. Some we contract out companies to run. So just for example, our in-house youth basketball league, our in-house girls softball league, or even our hockey lessons. Those are all run by staff that the Park District employs. Contractually,
We do independent contractors with, where the board approved the template of our contractor agreements. We contract out with, for example, Hot Shot Sports to run youth athletic programs and a lot of our camps. Illinois Baseball Academy runs lessons and camps. And then we, just for example, also run some camps with the NFL organization and the Chicago Cubs. So, in addition to that, there are outside organizations that offer many other additional programs to our community. And the Park District has partnered with these outside organizations to provide space, usually with a rental fee attached to it, to offer the programs that the Park District could not or does not offer. So through the years, these partnerships have led to the Park District affiliate program. As one affiliate organization said to me, we are stronger together than apart. Winnetka, though a very small town, is actually not as small as some of our neighboring communities, such as Glencoe, Northfield, and Kenilworth. And those neighborhoods, or towns I should say, would not be able to run some of these sports organizations or sports leagues without forming together as a region or together as a group. So for example, AYSO, which is our soccer affiliate, not only serves Winnetka players, but serves Glencoe and Northfield. KWBA, our baseball organization, Kenilworth, Winnetka, and now serves Northfield as well. Junior Trevians, which is our football, serves mostly Winnetka and Wilmette. New Trier Hockey, as we heard, actually they were not New Trier Hockey, but New Trier Hockey serves all of the New Trier high school boundaries. The Winnetka Platform Tennis, they serve many of the North Shore region, but about 68% is within Winnetka, Kenilworth, Glencoe, Northfield. And then the Winnetka Hockey Club, the gentleman here mentioned that in addition to Winnetka, they serve Northfield, Glencoe, and Kenilworth. So while they all serve Winnetka, many of them pull in some of our small towns because they would not be able to have an organization if Northfield was to run a baseball association on their own. They just couldn't form enough teams. So we are estimating that the affiliate agreements, the formal affiliate agreements, started around 2014. PADERMA, which is our risk management association, provides many templates for basically anything. So we use their affiliate template, which is approved by their council and our council. Through the years, as these have been expiring, they've been managed by staff and renewed and updated to agreements have been extended. So this year, we began bringing the affiliate agreements, mainly the renewal agreements or the new agreements, to the board. And we have been paying a little bit more attention to the board policy 1707, which highlights in summary that the district recognizes at times it's in the best interest of the community that the agency work with outside organizations to coordinate and consolidate providing these programs. And affiliate groups are recognized as the specific youth sports service provider to the community. So we recognize our affiliates as the sport provider on behalf of the Park District. So we do not, as I mentioned, we do not offer a baseball league. The Kenilworth KWBA, Kenilworth Winnetka Baseball Association, is our baseball provider. So if someone calls and says, I want to join a baseball program or baseball league, we refer them to our affiliate, which is kind of an arm or a branch of the Park District. 1707 also has affiliate criteria listed in it. And just to list some of the things straight from the policy, that they must be 501c3, they must be a volunteer board with at least 51% Winnetka Park District residents. The same percentage of participants must be Park District residents. They also must submit annual budget, annual audit, or detailed financial report, and then the list of officers and participants' contact information. So this is straight out of 1707. As I mentioned before, these are our current affiliates, or we have current affiliate agreements with each of these. AYSO Soccer, KWBA, which is our baseball,
Trebian's football, and then our 2 hockey, and then Platform is considered an affiliate as well. This is a brief summary of our current affiliates. When the organization was founded, you'll see many of them have some great years of service to the community. The number of players is of the past year that they've been, that is part of the organization, registered players. And those are the number of hours, total hours that they have used our space. I do want to briefly mention under Platform Tennis, while we couldn't pull up the hours, that's the percentage of the court use that the club uses. That does not include the percentage of court time that club members also reserve their time on the courts. So that is much higher. The affiliates get a discount on the the posted rental rate. So those are all here. Those are all their contracted rental rates. Current contracted rental rates. So currently what we are doing is we continue to use the PDERMA template as we are renewing and updating new agreements as the other ones are expiring. We're also streamlining the agreements. Actually, the one in your current packet for the Winnetka Hockey Club is a good example. We're streamlining all the agreements, so rather than list out their criteria, we're just referring them to Board Policy 8108, which is actually kind of a vague policy that just defines the affiliate, and we're referring them to Board Policy 1707. So if at any time the board should change either of these policies, either or and, we don't have to go back and amend the agreement. So the criteria is determined by the board, and then the affiliate meets that policy. We are also currently requesting their financials and their list of participants and board members. So we have had meetings with each organization and have updated them on all of this. I don't need to go over in detail all of this, but this is kind of the current status after communicating with each affiliate group where they stand currently. And what we are looking for direction from the board, or essentially our goals for the future as we look ahead into our affiliate organizations, is essentially 3 areas to focus on. One, we want to discuss affiliate qualifications that are specifically listed in 1707 and possibly what that means to the affiliates that don't meet all of the criteria listed in the Board Policy 1707, looking at the qualifications and criteria as a whole. We would love to look at the fee structure and determine potentially a set percentage discount off the posted rental rate that all affiliates potentially would get versus having kind of a across the board inconsistent discount amount. And really understanding what the community priority is for our field usage or even our ice usage. What is the goal of the board and the community? So is the goal to maximize the field usage, maximize revenue, fill the space as much as we can, focus more on resident groups, focus more on affiliate groups? What are we trying to do to our space in general? We've filled our space. We have filled our space. James does a great job of getting groups in there. So not only do our affiliates use the space, we do have additional rental groups where we have rental agreements that use our space as well. So this was kind of just an overview of our affiliates, just to kind of get an understanding of where we started, where we currently are, and some direction on where we want to move forward. Any questions?
So let's go around the room. Eric Lawson, I would like to start with you so that I don't neglect you. You have
Sure, thanks, President Cotto. My only comment is that these 6 affiliates are the fabric of our community for children's involvement within athletics. And I would submit that missing any of these organizations would be a really significant disruption to our community. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Commissioner James?
I would echo Eric's comments, and to go a little bit in more detail, we obviously cannot provide all the same coaching organization that many of these 501c3 organizations do. So we rely upon them. It's a symbiotic relationship. We also use field space in other communities. AYSO doesn't only play in Winnetka, you might play in Kenilworth. I had many enjoyable KWVA baseball games, over at Sears or at Pee Wee Field in Kenilworth. So I think it is, it's inappropriate to apply a 51% ratio across the board because you're not adjusting for field space that's being provided in other communities. I think you need to look at the affiliates on a case-by-case basis. I also think with ICE specifically, ICE is it's one of our enterprise activities. It funds itself through user fees. We also, it's important for the public to know that we still maintain a balance of funding between the user fees and taxes. Only half of, or less than half of our annual budget is generated from taxes. The rest is user fees that come from these activities. So it's an important part, as Eric said, is the fabric of the community. Let's not just dictate 51% because it's written. Let's understand the reason and understand each individual program and assess it individually.
Commissioner West.
Okay, I had some high-level comments, and then I will ask a few more detailed questions, I think. First, I just want to say that I appreciate the work of Edie Nazal and you, Elisa, and you, James. I know that these are a lot to manage. I know that you're managing a lot of groups that want everything now perfectly for them, and that's hard to juggle. So I appreciate that because people are, I'd say, pretty happy generally with these programs. I'm also glad to see that we are, working toward, one of the goals that we had established at the start of the year. So that's a good thing to be middle of the year, like making good progress on it. I just wanted to recognize first the full range of engagement with the Winnetka Park District because the affiliate groups are just one component of that. So, if we look at our facility reservation use priority, first it's the Park District programs. Second is the schools, so School District 36, New Trier, athletic teams, North Shore Country Day has a priority license agreement for the turf. And then comes the sports affiliate programs. And the ones, I think that you have a little bit of a hodgepodge in the policies because there are different policies for the turf and the athletic fields and the ice. So there's, they're kind of covered in multiple sections that are specific for those groups, which we'll talk about more probably when we talk about the ice agreements, because I know I have some more comments on that. Then after that, fourth is a resident group. And a resident group is defined as a group that can come in and rent facilities for use. And the group needs to be 51% or more of Winnetka Park District residents, and they need to provide information to validate that. There are some nuances of that are unclear to me in terms of how people access that. After that is non-resident groups, so that's 501c3s, commercial, or groups that charge a fee for services. And then after that is everyone else. So, I think that there's a little bit of confusion for some of these groups, which of those buckets they actually fall in when you look at it. And I think when we talk about the hockey agreements and the hockey specific language, to me, it looks like New Trier, even though their agreement has the word affiliate slapped on the top of it, they're actually not considered and treated that way. So I think we can talk about that more, but I think it's good to have a background. I just want to confirm in practical terms, when we look at our affiliates, that they do actually follow this priority. So, for example, if the North Shore Trevian football puts in their request for the turf, are we actually telling Team 1 lacrosse, no, you can't have it on Saturday because the Trevian football team has it as an affiliate? Or how is that actually working?
Yeah, so a lot of our user groups as well are familiar with one another, work together to help themselves grow. So Team 1 is on a Saturday program, and then they'll make accommodations to have the football, or football make accommodations for the lacrosse, so that we're meeting the needs of both groups. They play really nicely in the sandbox, if you will, and they together, we work together with both of them. Priority list, New Trier football would have their first
North Shore
up.
Trevian?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
My second overarching comment is that, resident priority should be a guiding principle in facility use decisions. I have a serious issue telling our residents that they cannot use our facilities when they are paying taxes. And there are a few different ways that, other districts handle this. One is the 51%. Some of them it's higher, 75 or 90, particularly for facilities with scarcity, which I'm hearing that we have one. And other districts, some have like a resident participant surcharge, which is higher than or lower than the non-resident participant surcharge to cover turf. So there are a few different ways to handle that. But fundamentally, I want to make sure that our residents have access on a priority basis to our facilities. So if there's a hockey team with no Winnetka residents, and there's a hockey team with Winnetka residents, ideally a lot of Winnetka residents, I want them to be prioritized. And I'm not sure how we, make that so under our agreements, but that, in terms of a policy direction, is something that I feel that is important. The other kind of prioritization that I've seen other districts employ, which I agree with, is prioritizing the recreational all-play programs first, ahead of the travel tryout restricted programs. So, everyone has a chance to play and access a sport. I think that that's also important in terms of thinking about global priorities. Fourth is exceptional governance from both the affiliates and from us in managing the affiliates, because I think it's easy to lose sight of that, and it seems like in some ways it hasn't been quite as tight as it could be. And the way that some other districts have handled that is they have their affiliates come in on an annual basis and do a presentation. They need to fulfill an annual application where we have your current bylaws, we have your budget, so that we know what your plans are for the year. So if you're planning to offer something in the spring that we didn't know about, we were having that conversation in January, or the fall that we didn't know about, we're having that conversation ahead of time. The participant list, the board list. I do feel very strongly that for our Winnetka Park District affiliates, that they do have a majority of their board as Winnetka residents. I think that it's very easy for other communities who don't live here to say, oh, well, we'll just put things in to benefit our program without that resident balance. And I think that that's a really, really important to have the resident voice in our programs, because we are, kind of a landlocked place. It sounds like you're making some progress in terms of working with the organizations to bring them in line. And in terms of next steps in developing policy, I would certainly like to see some benchmarking with other districts to see what they have. I noticed that Park Ridge, Palatine, and Naperville had very good descriptions of their programs and their materials, which I thought, just a whole comprehensive layout of here are the different types of organizations. And then I do agree that there is some give and take, particularly for the smaller districts. So for baseball and soccer, yes, they do have fields to offer, and so our participants are using those fields, and what feels, I mean, at least when my kids participated, felt like, you know, a third of the time we were in Winnetka, a third of the time we were in Glencoe, a third of the time we were in Kendall, you know, like it was spread. I don't think for all the affiliates that other communities offer field use in the same way. So for example, for the football program, I think that Winnetka is predominantly shouldering the field use for the entire area. And I think that we're seeing that in some of their data. So that's definitely something to wrestle with, because I think it's very important that we, you know, also, you know, we accommodate who we can, but we also remain respectful of our neighborhoods, and, you know, our field use and field assignment is, you know, keeping in line with being a good neighbor as a park district. I think that's really important. So I think in terms of overarching principles, that was what I had. And, you know, I'm definitely glad to see that we are stepping up and managing a little closer. The only other piece that was not on your compliance list was the insurance. So I know that we had received a certificate, for example, from one organization that did not have the Winnetka Park District named, and I think it would be helpful for you to talk about how we manage that. I know in looking at past board minutes, Commissioner Seaman had previously asked a question like, are these organizations signing our waiver? And the answer that was given was yes, but then E.G. Nazal, you said no. So I just think, you know, like, these are risky activities. They are things that kids can get hurt in, and I think making sure that people have the proper insurance is like also an important part of the checklist.
And they do provide insurance that lists the park district as additionally insured.
All
That's
of
part
them?
of, yeah, that's part of their agreement, and they do comply with that.
Okay, good, yay.
And those are updated annually. James stays on top of that.
Okay.
For every, actually, organization.
Yeah, not just, you don't do that.
Okay. That's good. And then the bylaws, you guys said we had not been collecting those. Okay, I would certainly add that to the list.
Well, I think from the, if I could, so I think the conversation is more than just checking the boxes of what's in the policy now. I think we have to take a good look at what that policy is and what are we trying to do as a community to meet the needs of the community with the assets that we have in this area. And with that, every community is different. There is going to be, you know, some areas that are bigger jurisdictions, they might be able to have a, you know, 51%. An agency that I worked for, a few agencies that I worked for previously that have over 100,000 residents, they're able to do a 51% rate for those types of things for the affiliate groups. But I think that's part of the conversation, that we have to have with the affiliates, and also based on, you know, by the board as chosen by the community on what we need to look at as far as that priority. As Elisa mentioned, what is that priority? Is it filling up the fields? Is it the residents? Is it providing the service for the area? Do we want to be that facility? So as far as the turf fields, do we want to be that facility for our New Trier area? So I think that's part of the conversation of moving forward with how we make changes to that policy to make it work for our community.
So I mean, I could give direction on that for myself, and then others can weigh in, but I mean, I certainly prioritize the residents, and I certainly, you know, recognize that it's good to have, you know, the ability for kids to have friends, but I think we need to be respectful of our neighborhoods, and I think saying, okay, we're going to, you know, profit maximize every aspect of our facilities is not in the best interest of our residents. It's nice to be able to play, you know, a little pickup game on the turf because it's not booked every single second. It's nice that, you know, when the lights aren't on until 10 o'clock every single night because, you know, it's really bright. So I just, like, from where I sit, those are the things that I see.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Tyson?
I look forward to a more detailed conversation about affiliate qualifications at a high level. I agree that prioritizing residents needs to happen. However, I don't think it's that simple, because if we want to give our residents an opportunity to participate in these organizations in their community, we've got to look at them and how they're set up and their field usage. So the 51% as brought up in public comment, as brought up by Commissioner James, I think we need to look at when that makes sense to apply and when it doesn't. The other question, I may have answered it myself in looking at your presentation, I was curious about the affiliate rate. You mentioned it's, you're looking at potentially a standard discount rate. I was kind of curious what it looks like today on average, and I'm looking at the rental rates and the affiliate rates and kind of doing my calculations, and it does seem to be all over the map. So I understand that ask to get to something a little more consistent, a little more fair and equitable. So that's it. Thank you.
Commissioner Root?
Alicia and James, thank you for all the work you're doing. I will echo both Commissioner Rapp and Commissioner Tyson. To me, what's really important is that we have fair and equitable access for our district residents, because they're the ones that are paying the bills. And I would like to see just more information about surrounding districts and how they handle this. I think that would be very, very helpful for the board as a whole as we look at this. And then, you know, I have a penchant for history, and you mentioned that these affiliate agreements really started in 2014. So I have a question about what did the district do before 2014? How did we handle these programs? And you don't have to answer me tonight, but I'd be curious to know how things were handled. And then also echoing Commissioner Rapp, as far as boards that have district residents on the boards, the importance of that. You will hear a number of complaints from the streets surrounding our facilities that they are constantly jammed with overflow parking. And so that is something I think if you are a district local, you'll be a little more concerned about than if you're coming from Wilnet or one of the outlying areas. And I think that is important. But again, you're doing an awful lot of work, and it's greatly appreciated. So thank you very much.
Commissioner Seaman?
What's broken? I mean, I don't think anything's broken, other than if there is a document requirement in the policy manual that we are not satisfying, that we don't have, let's make sure we get the docs. But I'm going to go back to Chesterton's fence. This is an offense, but if this affiliate agreement and the way this has been working, it seems like it's working relatively well. We would hear about it much more consistently. I'm a little bit more in the, depending upon the facility, we need to maximize profit. The paddle business doesn't take a tax dollar other than FICA, nor does the hockey rink. They don't take tax dollars. So there shouldn't necessarily be a priority on residents to that facility. Fields are different. That's under parks. That takes tax dollars directly. I'm not saying that we should sell our ice to non-Nutria or non-Winnetka folk before Winnetka folk, but they are different. They don't take tax dollars. Golf isn't supposed to, but it's taken a lot over the years. So, but that's a little bit different. So I just ask what's broken? We probably had some people bring it up to you saying, hey, we got this thing in the policy and we don't have the docs and why are we doing this? I don't know how, why, but I think it's good to do a review of it. But I think it's working well. I think it's always good to review and update, but we would hear about it because we hear if it were broken.
Commissioner Seaman, if I could follow up on that. I don't think anything's broken per se. It is more of we're looking at making sure that the wants and needs of the community are reflected in what we put out there as the agreements, and that they match. So if we are okay with the agreements as or the affiliates as they're running, then we need to look at what policy changes need to be made to accommodate for that. There have been other groups that have come up and say, hey, why can't I be an affiliate? And so I think that there's also that opportunity to make sure that we are looking at organizations that are meeting the best interest of the community and the wants and needs, whether it's prioritizing residents or making sure that we're, we have enough parking for folks that are using the facilities. So it's something that, just as all of these programs have grown over time, we have to grow with it. And I think that's the conundrum that we're in right now, is that we have to grow with the programs.
Okay. Have you finished? Okay. I'll just wrap it up and then we'll see. We've been asked to give direction on qualifications. We've been asked to give direction or to think about fee structure. We've been asked to help them think about community priorities. So those were the 3 tasks that were assigned at the end of this presentation. My question would be similar to Commissioner Seaman's, is do we have any groups who are not able to get space? Maybe they don't have affiliate status, but maybe they can't get space for their sports, because you are at the center of this as you're working to fill these fields. So that's my first question. Do we have groups that complain? Do we have groups that are not served? And I think you're definitely a source of this, as are each of the other business pieces. But I would also say that the comprehensive master plan can identify those unmet needs as well, and that's a really important piece of information that we should harvest. Secondly, with regard to pricing, you have competitive pricing for all of these programs, and parents are making a competitive pricing decision based on which programs their children will attend. Proximity is a part of that pricing equation, right. As well as quality of instruction, as well as friend groups. So all of those components fit in to that equation. We're being asked for the higher level discussion of what are our priorities. And I would say that I trust the staff to monitor their competitive environment and to understand it correctly and to price it correctly. I also trust the staff, and perhaps this is a piece that should be brought to us when we consider these affiliate agreements. This particular sport is a growing sport. This particular sport is a declining sport. This particular sport is important to us. For example, baseball is a bit on the decline. That could change, but we have a lot of hard assets devoted to baseball. So I think when you bring an affiliate to us for an agreement, the nuance around why this may or may not require a policy stretch is important. So that's my 2 cents of the summary. So I think everybody wants to prioritize residents. To David's point, some of the enterprise units do not take tax dollars. So I'm not quite sure how to summarize this neatly for you, but I think you've heard comments from all 7 of us, and maybe that gives you a little direction.
Yeah, I think we have good direction that we'll go back, we'll talk to our current affiliates, make sure that, you know, all needs are met, any other user groups that we have that may be having struggles with any sort of space, that sort of thing, so we can get a full picture of that. Look at other agencies that are similar in size to us that may have the same type of concerns with the smaller community and little ones around it, to look at how they handle those. And we can come back to the board with some recommendations, and maybe after summer.
Yeah. Well, you'll have the comp plan at that point, and then you'll also have fleshed out the nuance for if someone needs a variance from the policy, why do they need a variance? This is the landscape they operate in, this is the programming they provide, this is not something we can do on our own, et cetera. Okay, do you have enough information to go forward? Okay, nicely done. Okay, let's move on to item number 5.1, which is the Elder Lane and Centennial Park project plan update under unfinished business.
So I'm playing Mr. Catoulas today.
Yes.
And some of the updates that we have, so we have the next Plan Commission meeting scheduled for May 28th for Centennial Beach. And we still do not have a date yet scheduled for Elder to be in front of one of the boards or commissions. And as far as the cleanup of Elder and Centennial, at this point, we have all of the permits. However, we did not get any bids back on the cleanup construction work. And
Just a quick question.
yes, sir.
When you say we have all the permits on the Elder cleanup, we have it from the IDNR, the Army Corps,
And the village.
and the village. So we have the permits from them to do the cleanup
Yes.
part. Got it.
The cleanup of the debris at Elder and Centennial and the last 20 feet of the pier on Elder removal.
Got it.
So we have the permit documentation for that, but when we went out to bid on that work, we had two firms that had came to the pre-bid meeting, but we did not have any actual bidders on the work. An assumption on that could be restrictive timing, as we wanted to get it completed this summer. So what we are looking at this point is putting it back out to bid next week without a timeline restriction. That would likely still mean that we would not be able to do that cleanup work this summer, which is unfortunate. However, we are still prepared to open Elder Lane beach sand only. No water access. No water access. So that is where we are right now on that cleanup effort. So that would go back out to bid. I do know from the village's perspective that they currently have a bid on the street for stormwater, which is part of the next conversation, but that is still out to bid, and I think that closes 29th, yes, next week. So hopefully we'll have some more information based on that when that comes through. And I've had some conversations about possibly working with the village if they get somebody to bid on their project, if there's an opportunity to tie into that if they have a contractor out there. So that has been put out into the ether. So we'll see what comes of that if we're not able to get the bids in on that particular work. That also said, we have received notice of public notice from IDNR for the Dog Beach fencing. So they're accepting public comment through June 13th for that part of their permitting process for the fence, the temporary fence at Centennial Beach. And We have been in further communication with Cook County. They requested to meet on site to review the dog-friendly area that occurred last Monday. And they requested additional information on signage and waste receptacles, and we've sent that information to them for their, for them to opine on. And that is the majority of the updates at this particular point in time.
Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you very much.
Hey, can I, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Go
we
ahead.
can, that's fine,
Go ahead.
yeah. We're gonna go around the room, but we're gonna start with Commissioner Tyson this time.
And this time Commissioner Tyson is fine.
Thank you very much. Okay. And Commissioner James?
I have several comments. First, we shouldn't be surprised that we had no bidders because of the time restriction. It's May 22nd. Contractors have already filled their schedules, and if they had slack time, I'd be surprised. I think it is appropriate to rebid without the time constraint. Second, Village is out to bid to insert 60 feet of pipe from the end of the pier. I assume that they're not talking about removing or otherwise damaging or doing anything to the pier other than trying to insert 60 feet of 54-inch diameter pipe from the end in the water. I expect there might be a similar no bid response to that one because based upon my experience and talking with others, that's a really, really challenging ask. Now, let's connect a couple of the dots. We're not going to be swimming at Elder this year because we know there are chunks of concrete and corrugated metal pipe. So until such time as those known hazards are removed, it's unsafe to let people in the water. I'm going to ask again that the Park District prepare placards and post placards on the beach so that we give adequate notice to anyone who finds their way onto Elder that there are submerged hazards. Don't go in the water.
That is occurring.
Great, thank you. With respect to the dog beach fence, I'm happy to see that we're in for permit. I wish we would have gone in for the south fence on the permanent basis because we're gonna have to go through the entire process again, because this is only for a temporary fence. So we're going through a public comment period and IDNR, Army Corps, and Village for a temporary fence and a special use process. Is that right?
As far as the special use permit process, what we have done is we submitted a fence permit to the village and we're waiting on a response.
Okay. And the last thing, just to make sure people are keeping track, we had plans prepared for Elder and Centennial in October of 2023. We were not allowed to submit for permit due to the abeyance period. We submitted for permit for Centennial at the first available time. That was April 3rd, 2024. We are only in the second step of a four-step process in May of 25, more than a year later. The village asked the Park District to wait on the submittal of Elder until such time as it completed further study of the stormwater. They selected a consultant, Strand and Associates, whom we're all familiar with. They've done excellent work, they're highly qualified. Strand prioritized consideration of the Elder portion of Southeast Winnetka. They delivered a report to the village on September 10th, 2024, in which they concluded that the Park District's proposed pipe size and location, it worked, was appropriate. At that point, we submitted for permit for Elder. So we submitted for permit for Elder in September of 2024. It's now May of 2025, and we've yet to be scheduled for a hearing. Let that sink in. We want Elder open. Later on in the agenda, next up, we're going to see a proposal that satisfies the needs
of the Park District and the village with respect to stormwater discharge. We should be prioritizing that and doing it once.
Thank you. Commissioner Lawson?
No comments at this time, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Seaman?
Hey, I was just going to ask Elder Beach, not water, do you expect that to be open when the other beaches are open?
This weekend.
Okay, so it will be open this weekend, so there'll be plenty of
There
signage.
will be signage, there will be, so we're going to put out a press release as well as some other public information this evening. I wanted to have this conversation first before we put that out there. And so we will be having, it will be staffed, there will be operating hours, it will be closed when it's not during operating hours. And the beach house will be open, restrooms will be open, the water will not. So staff will be monitoring that during our operating hours. And then just as we have for other beach locations, there is overnight security that monitors throughout.
And there will be I guess I'll call it a substantial fence that will communicate to the public, do not go on the pier.
It's already up.
It's already up, okay. Thank you.
Okay. What's that? Commissioner Root?
I just want to thank the executive director and staff for following through with an interim plan to get Elder open. And by that I mean to get the beach house open, to get the sand open, to get the park open for this season, with the understanding this has been a lot of additional work for staff. And on behalf of my neighborhood, I want to thank you for that, because we've really missed not being able to get down and at least look at the water in Elder. So thank you so much.
Commissioner Grant?
Yes, thank you. We have had some progress on Elder. I expect that the neighborhood will be very happy, the community will be very happy, so thank you for that. The only other small thing that I have is I saw 2 Lakota invoices and the Ansel Glink invoice in this summary, so definitely when it's convenient, I would like to look at them.
Sound, we need to speak into the
Invoices. Thank you.
Yes, we can
Thank you
provide
very
those.
much. Okay, so in the spirit of not letting the perfect be the enemy of the good, we are opening sand only at Elder. It'll be fenced and monitored and guarded. So I just want everyone to understand that. And it has been an enormous amount of additional work, and I'm very grateful to the staff. And also to Costa, who's not here to
Yes.
celebrate.
And also, what I would say too is, when you are out there and our staff kindly asks you to stay out of the water, please be kind back.
Okay, we're moving on, I believe now to new business, item 6.1.
No, 5.2.
Oh, excuse me, 5.2 Elder Lane Stormwater Update. I've written all my notes right over that.
Taylor, can you bring up the concept designs? So after the last board meeting, we were directed to reach out to village staff to request a meeting with our consultants and their consultants on the proposed draft change to the stormwater outfall. And after that, the village thought it would be best to send in that information for their review prior to meeting, and so we did that on the 13th. I've had conversations with the village manager even this week, and spoke about the current project out to bid that we previously discussed, and as well as meeting on this particular recommendation. And we did agree to work towards getting a meeting of staff and consultants to discuss any potential movement. And what I would preface this with is that any stormwater structure is the village's structure, and it is while it's park property, we absolutely need to work with the village on whatever that resolve needs to be. So basically, the change from the going back to 2022, when we had a design for the stormwater that came through the tableland from Sheridan Road all the way down. What this has evolved into with the newest recommendation is, as the village has let us know, that the stormwater structures, the piping that they had scoped all the way up to the manholes, and I don't have, it's like I need a laser. Okay, thank you. Okay, here I am. Okay, so, all right, so these manhole covers right here, this is what we understand as right now the structures that are the start of what is non-functional according to the village and what they have looked up to as far as their scope was able to get, was that area there. So that's where we took this point from. If the village is confident that their structure is functional up until that point, then we should be able to look at improvements from that area down to the actual outfall rather than from up at Sheridan Road. And that in itself would be a large cost savings just from lesser infrastructure, less linear footage of piping, and the actual stormwater structures themselves. So from that, the structures would potentially, the piping would go here to this side of the bluff and then kind of go under the boardwalk itself and then extend out to the proposed breakwater structure that was in our October 2023 plan. So that part is still the same as far as that breakwater structure, that stone groin with the outfall underneath that. So moving, still attempting to remove the current pier and change that to the proposed breakwater on the north side, the north side of Elder Lane Beach. The modeling of this structure or this avenue was completed by Burke, and it meets the needs of the current outfall that is required by the village. So as of right now, from the modeling standpoint, it does meet the requirements, and that is what we're looking to have that conversation with the village in regards to how this may meet their needs for stormwater at Elder. Any questions, comments?
Yeah, we'll take comments. We did discuss this previously, briefly in December, correct?
Yes.
Yes, okay. All right, I'm gonna start with Eric. Lawson?
No comments at this point.
Okay, thank you. James?
Okay, I want to give you a little history and try and explain this in terms that you can understand. Relocating the stormwater discharge was part of the Lakefront Master Plan, approved in 2016. Relocating the stormwater discharge has been part of every Park District plan that we've approved. The village conducted a study in 2023. They came back and they told us that they had inspected the storm sewer and found it to be in good condition, and asked that we plan on keeping the pier, even though it was contrary to all the plans that we had prepared. We dutifully complied.
and amended the plans that were subsequently approved showing the pier. The Park District's objective is to create unencumbered beaches, to move the storm sewer discharge to the north and further out in the lake. That's still our goal. The critical component here from the perspective of the MWRD and the regulatory agencies is not to exceed the current outfall capacity. Matching the outfall capacity is the imperative. The Park District has employed 3 different professional engineers. Matt Wright of Red Barn, who's an expert in marine-based construction. Spaceco, who has done all the civil engineering for Elder and Centennial. And Christopher Burke Engineering, Thomas Burke, who is an expert in hydraulic modeling. Spaceco refers the modeling to Burke. Christopher Burke Engineering and Strand, who is the village's consultant, are both recognized by the MWRD as being expert-approved consultants. They have the capabilities to model this. Both Strand and Christopher Burke Burke did all the modeling in 2022. Strand reviewed the modeling in 2022. And they said, yes, this works. And the village signed a permit application to the MWRD at that time. And we were moving forward with the relocation. Obviously, things got sidetracked. Permits were withdrawn. The engineering remains the same. And the village has given us some valuable information. Before, we had the pipe running on a diagonal through the park. Now that we know that the village has conducted its study, and it said Strand has confirmed, we have existing storm sewers that are in good condition all the way to the bluff. The one manhole at the bluff is in terrible condition. It's made of brick. It's 78 to 100 years old. It's literally falling apart. There are missing bricks and holes in the side of it. So our team said, why don't we start there and replace those 2 manholes? You can't see, but I can. And I know that the manhole that's furthest south is underneath the roof of the Elder house. We have plans to replace that walkway, replace that stair. It is incumbent upon us, and it's collaborative between us and the village, to replace those manholes, start there, and convey the stormwater. Now, there was one comment that the MWRD made back in 2022, and these were all preliminary, but they expressed a concern over the velocity of the water exiting the end of the pipe. That's because there's 30 feet of fall. So there's a lot of head pressure driving that water out of that storm sewer. So look, I'm an engineer by education, I do this for a living, so I understand this stuff, and I've had detailed conversations with our team. Everything that's been designed and modeled meets code, and it meets the hydraulic analysis. The math is the math is the math. The rainfall bulletins, everything, we've got a solution. And I'm confident that when Strand reviews this solution, that they're gonna nod just like they did in 2022 and just like they did in September 2024, that the solution works. We should be working with the village to solve this issue as part of the overall Elder redo. We have plans that have been pending before the village in September of '24. We should update our submittal to include this component, which is a comprehensive solution to the outfall structure. You're going to hear people say, oh no, we need to do further study. Nonsense. There are 3 parts to stormwater management: collection, detention, and discharge. We're only addressing the discharge component. As long as we match the existing outfall, we should be able to do this under a maintenance permit. There may be other water quality issues that we can address, and we have proposed solutions to that in the past. So let's
recognize it's May. We were unable to get a contractor to clean up Elder and remove the known hazards. We should refocus our efforts on the comprehensive solution, advance this permit, and be ready so that we can get in the water first thing in '26 with permit in hand, remove the pier, fix the storm sewer, and relocate the storm sewer, which is part of every one of our approved plans.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Rapp?
As was referenced, or maybe it wasn't referenced, but commissioners did have the opportunity to meet with staff in groups of 2 and ask questions. And one of the questions that I asked that I just wanted to confirm is that the height, even if the size of the pipes changes from 2 36-inch pipes to 2 42-inch pipes, that the height of the stone breakwater will not change.
It will not.
Thank you.
Commissioner Tyson?
I had my chance to ask questions of Costa this week, so thank you for that opportunity.
Commissioner Root?
Again, I had a chance to visit both with Costa and you, Executive Director, remotely. The one question that I asked was, do we have any sort of cost components yet for this new design?
We have not done a cost analysis at this point due to the cost of doing a cost analysis of that until we get further direction either from the village that they are in agreement with this or it is added to our plan. It would not be fruitful for conducting that at this time. Because cost estimates change on the daily, and we want to make sure that it's something that we are looking to go forward with before we undergo that exercise.
And do you have a meeting date to visit with the village?
I do not yet.
Thank you so much.
Commissioner Seaman?
Really enjoyed the meeting with you and Costa to get a bit more familiarized with this design. This is the village's pipe, but it's our beach. We have the responsibility to make sure that this beach is safe. So this plan, again, it's the village's pipe, so I want to be respectful, obviously, to the village, but it appears to me as a non-engineer and just a regular guy, seems to accomplish a lot of things. I would guess, although we don't have any cost estimates, I would guess that it's cheaper. Don't know, but I would guess, just by the feet of pipe that need to be laid. Removing that pier, apparently piers are very unsafe, so this would be the removal of that pier. I think that would be a safety enhancement. I think it would be better to discharge the water farther out into the water and not in the middle of the beach. So, to me, seems like a much more a better solution. But again, it's the village's pipe, so we, as you said, we have to work with the village ultimately together to get something done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I want to summarize by just thanking Costa for all of his hard work and all of the consultants who put this together.
No, I have a separate topic that's Elder Lane stormwater. It's separate and apart, and I need to address it. This is my last opportunity to address it, okay?
Okay,
When
let
I-
me finish
just-
my comments.
Okay.
It accomplishes removing the stormwater discharge pipe out of a swimming beach. That's number one. It makes it more robust, makes it safer, pushes the discharge further out into the water, and creates the open beach that we're all looking for.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right, Elder Lane stormwater. In March of 2015, water was at the lowest level in a decade, and low enough
that I was able to find a spot where concrete is broken and get inside the pier. I took those pictures that showed that the pipe inside the pier has broken apart about 80 feet down and disintegrated the last 60 feet. And that's why the chunks of metal. There's another thing that I discovered, and that was the strong stench of sewer gas coming out of the end of the pipe. And it's not just me. Costa was also in the pipe on a different day. He too smelled the stench of sewer gas. I don't mean storm sewer, I mean sanitary. We know from Jim Bernal's prior report in October 26, 2022, of the village's extensive work back in the 2010s, 2012, 13, 14, where they identified approximately 67 illegal sanitary sewer cross connections. And that made a substantial improvement in the water quality exiting the pipe at Elder. However, upon checking the recent data collection, noticed on April 29th, we do weekly tests, noted a very high spike, an off-the-chart spike in E. coli from the end of the pipe. I think it's incumbent that we bring this to the attention of the village, that we do more frequent testing to correlate the E. coli with storm events, and that we ask the village to do further study so that they can act promptly to identify and address what we have reason to believe is continuing illegal sanitary sewer connections to the Elder Storm Discharge.
Is there anybody else that wants to make a second set of comments?
Just wanted to confirm with Shannon that with the beach being open now, even though it's sand only, will the water quality testing switch to daily or not for the summer? Because it sounds like there could be some value in having a couple months run of the daily testing.
So for the daily testing, that has been typically done by the village. They indicated to us last season that it was only for swimming beaches, and that's where it is at this point right now. Right now, for Elder and Centennial, we do weekly testing, and each test is about $140. And that's the regular test. As far as those testing results go, there are always, there's good days and there's bad days. And so it would be the same as any other location where if we have a high reading that we would do a closure. And with the new rapid testing that we're able to do, if we do get a time period where we do get a unsatisfactory reading, but then the next day it looks nice outside and everything is kind of calm and it's a great weather day, or it's July 4th or whatever the case, then we can go and do that rapid testing for, I believe it's a 4-hour turnaround.
Just to summarize, it sounds like we should re-ask the village to support us in doing the daily testing from Elder as we do at Tower and Maple for the summer once the sand only is open.
Request that they
Okay.
to see if they'll do that for us again. Otherwise, it's $140 a day.
Okay.
How much is the rapid? It's probably a little more. Yeah. Yeah.
Listen,
It's at
more
least
information is better.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
I agree.
I'm not coming after anybody for, listen, we got a lot of old infrastructure. So, but the more information, the better. At some point, the water will be open at Elder. I don't know when. So I know you've been a proponent for more testing. We should know. I think the village would want to know. Again, don't want to speak for the village, but I certainly think our residents want to know. And again, the Park District, we are responsible for the safety of these beaches and water. So I would want to know as a board member. Thank you.
That's round 3. That's
Just-
round 3. Just telling
So
you.
just, we're not meeting until
I understand.
July.
I
So in
understand.
terms of giving staff direction, step one is ask the village if they'll do the comparable testing. And then step 2 is, if they won't do the comparable testing, are we comfortable spending $140 a day while the beach is open through the beach season to get the testing done daily?
I'm with Cynthia, I think we should direct staff to get the village to do at least 30 days of testing, correlate the test data to the rainfall data. You can request, and if the village denies, then we can pay for the rapid testing on our own.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay.
Okay, here you go. Okay,
Right.
anything else?
Consensus.
I know, it's great. Okay, so is that clear to everyone?
Yes, that
Okay.
we, and to clarify too, we have requested of the village to resume testing at Elder, but we haven't gotten a response back on that particular
Okay.
park. But we'll request again, based on this meeting, and if that does not come to fruition, then we'll look at doing the daily testing. I wouldn't say the rapid testing, but the daily testing,
Yes.
just to make sure, and that data will be posted as we do our current beach data.
Okay. Moving on to item 6.1, new business, memorandum, hockey club, memorandum of understanding. Elisa.
So this is a renewal of their current contract, which expires at the end of this month. We are recommending that their fee structure go up by CPI or 5%, whichever is less. Everything else in the agreement, the only change in this agreement from last agreement is that instead of listing out the criteria, we are just referring them to the policy. It is the actual same agreement that we recently did for AYSO, as far as wording goes.
I'm going to start with Commissioner Root.
I see this as a 3-year agreement, and one of the questions I had while we are in the middle of our comprehensive plan and while we're now going to be further exploring with the Winnetka Hockey Club, if perhaps we need to suggest some sort of reduced term for this. You know, I'd throw out 6 months to a year while we're going through all of this evaluation process. And then I noted that there was nothing in the agreement about the 51% residency that I could see. Now, it may have been there and I just overlooked it in my haste.
So that line was removed and instead it was referred to 1707.
So they're
Okay,
mapping
so
everything.
you
to
have a
policy.
direct back to the policy. Thank you for that clarification. But again, as we're kind of looking at everything and juggling everything, I think a 3-year term is excessive. Thank you.
Commissioner Seaman?
I hear where you're coming from, Commissioner Root, but I don't, given the glacial pace that we seem to work at this agency, I can't imagine that, and thoughtful and deliberative, which is, I get it,
You're being so polite.
So I'm trying to be polite my second time around. So I'd be shocked if the New Trier Hockey Club is not in that same facility within the next 3 years. So I'm supportive of the 3 years. Perhaps you could do a 2-year with a 1-year renewal option. I don't know, but I imagine that wonderful, beautiful hockey rink will still be up in 3 years from now. Perhaps a new one will be under construction. I don't know.
Commissioner Tyson?
I have to agree with Commissioner Seaman. I think based on some of the preliminary data we've seen from the surveys, we already see some of it presented back to us in evidence of how well that group is doing. I have to say I'm comfortable with 3 years.
Commissioner Rea?
I just wanted to highlight a couple other changes to the agreement, notably that there was the removal of the provision for the girls' team, And then I was uncomfortable because this agreement references a minimum of 1,100 hours of contract ice, and the prior agreement did not include any hour minimum. As we've heard that there is such a premium and shortage on ice, I am uncomfortable specifying a specific hour amount, particularly since there are so many other demands. I feel like we should be more flexible. I would note that in our policy manual, we also have a provision for a determination of program mix on an annual basis for the ice rink, with our goal stated as, goal of the Winnetka Park District to offer a well-rounded skating program. And I do not, sitting here, have a feel to know, is 1,100 hours the right time? I'm a little bit uncomfortable prioritizing, like taking all that space. Like if an all-resident girls team shows up with their insurance certificate and says, I want to play on my own ice, I think we should be finding a way for that to happen and not just automatically prioritizing a group with a lower resident base.
So is the idea to reduce the hours of the hockey club? Because this is typically what they currently use, and this is just a minimum. So that's what it would do. I mean,
I'm uncomfortable specifying one because our prior agreement did not specify an hour, and we're supposed to be determining the program mix on an annual basis, which we have never done. So I don't know what the usage is, and everyone is, the presentation was about there's a shortage of ice, everyone wants to use it, so I think that we want to retain some flexibility to allocate the ice usage annually so that we can accommodate, if there are other resident demands, rather than locking up with one entity.
So, I'm just gonna clarify this point, because I don't want us all to get stuck on it. Elisa, can you tell us how many total hours of ice are available in a year, by any chance? Like, what day to what day? No, so let's just do a rough calculation, right? You run out ice from 6 in the morning
6
until
a.m. to 11 p.m.
11 p.m., okay?
360 days a year.
Right, so, David, do that math. 360 days a year, 6 a.m. to 11 p.m.
No.
So that's 12.
The answer is no.
It's 17 hours.
Our superintendent of
times three.
finance.
6,120. Thank you.
The superintendent of finance is saying, listen, from a budgeting standpoint, to forecast
It's
your
helpful.
revenue, and therefore,
Yes.
who wanted to add the 1,100? Was it us, or was it the Dutra Hockey Club?
Winnetka.
I'm sorry, Winnetka Hockey Club.
It was us to meet our budget.
Okay, got it.
Got it.
Perfect.
Okay. So that's 6,120 hours a year of available ice, and we're giving them a minimum of 1,100 because it helps us meet our budget. So we're requiring them to take or pay 1,100 hours. To me, that's not even 25% of the total available hours. So I just wanted to clarify that. I'm not yet finished going around, and I'm not yet finished with your comments, so please go continue.
Okay, so looking at that though, I think we need to scale it back to the after-school hours that kids can actually play and back out, the school day. So it's a concern. Our prior agreement didn't have it. I think it reduces our flexibility, and it's not in line with, reviewing the program mix on an annual basis. So I would propose removing the minimum hour amount. And in terms of the length, I have seen other districts do the 3-year, but I think it's all down to how much discipline do you have on collecting the other information that they're committed, that they're supposed to be collecting, because it seems like we have not been doing that, and I think that's an important part of running a successful program.
Okay. So we've gone this side of the room. Mr. James?
I respect the work that staff has done to negotiate this agreement, and I'm in full support of signing the 3-year agreement as proposed.
Commissioner Lawson, probably our commissioner most
intensely involved in the ice community right now.
Oh, thank you. If Commissioner Rapp is correct, right, there's only, there's a much less availability, a much less usable ice time for kids Monday through Friday. So you can come in early, you can come in late, with some exceptions that ice is used during the middle of the day. Nonetheless, it sounds like the 1,100 hours is used more as a budgeting exercise to get to ultimately a minimum revenue stream. And so with that in mind, I'm in full support.
I see, thank you very much. I see the 1,100 hours as a break even that gets us to some basic profitability through the affiliate agreement. I think it's our benefit. So I am also in support of accepting this agreement as written with the 1,100 hours. I'm going to go ahead and ask for a motion. May I have a motion to approve the Winnetka Hockey Club Memorandum of Understanding as presented and authorize the executive director to execute on behalf of the board?
So moved.
James, second?
Second.
Lawson,
Second.
thank you. Any additional discussion? Okay, Lisa, that's a roll call vote.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Rapp?
No.
Commissioner Root?
I'm gonna say yes.
Commissioner Seaman?
Yes.
Commissioner Tyson?
Yes.
Commissioner Foto?
Yes.
Commissioner James?
Yes.
Thank you very much. That motion passes. Item 6.2.
We have to do 3.
Oh, excuse me, 3.4, correct. I've got it on my agenda, but not in my script. Item 3.4, which is the 2-month extension, if I'm not mistaken. And that will be Elisa.
So, sorry, I'm not using this. So as the Winnetka Hockey Club expires at the end of the month, so does New Trier Hockey Club. We decided to just do a 2-month amendment to the agreement to extend it for 2 months, which is essentially only their summer rate and their summer hours, while the board gave us or gives us direction on the affiliate status. So the current agreement that expires at the end of this month does not have a residency requirement in it, which means that it doesn't match Board Policy 1707. And now, in understanding and talking to the affiliate organization, we understand that they would not meet the 51% because they serve the entire New Trier High School district, not just Winnetka players. So in looking at this, we were not sure if they would be considered an affiliate moving forward or a rental group moving forward. So our interim solution is to do a 2-month extension to their agreement at the current summer rate while we determine their future status.
Got it. Okay. Any questions or comments? Commissioner Rapp?
Okay, just a comment. It appears in other policies they are described as like a non-resident user group. And just in terms of the practicalities of scheduling, are they scheduled in terms of their time slots after the Winnetka Hockey Club?
Yes,
Okay.
they get like 9 p.m. to later.
Okay,
Vigor.
okay. Okay, and then it seems like the other issues will be fleshed out as we go through the affiliate agreement process.
Commissioner Tyson?
I'm good. I think it makes sense.
Commissioner Root?
Good with it?
Commissioner Seaman? Commissioner James? Commissioner Lawson?
All good.
Okay. May I have a motion? May I have a motion to approve the Winnetka Hockey Club, the New Trier Hockey Club, excuse me, amendment 1, I think it's called, amendment number 1, okay, as presented. And authorize the executive director to execute. Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
That's James and Tyson. That's a roll call vote.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson,
Yes.
Commissioner Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Root,
Yes.
Commissioner Seaman,
Yes.
Commissioner Tyson,
Yes.
Commissioner Coyle.
Yes. Okay, moving on to item 6.2, 2026 budget preparation timeline. Mr. Crocker.
Thank you, Commissioner Cotto. As everybody here knows, the annual budget is probably the key financial component of everything we do. It's truly the linchpin of everything that happens here in the Park District. Traditionally, we generally put the budget together internally and come to the board in September to start presenting it to the members of the board. This year, we're trying something a little different. We're coming to the board earlier in the year, starting in June, to discuss some of the key components of the budget process. And that's what this timeline reflects. The hope is to have more open, transparent conversations with the board and with the public so that everybody better understands what we're trying to accomplish as we build the budget. I know in the past, members of the board have felt rushed or perhaps not as thoroughly informed as they might like to be. The goal here is to, again, give the board and the public more time to digest the components of the budget and better understand what our goals are as we move forward. So beginning in June, we're going to start discussing the 2025 tax levy to be collected in 2026. And we will be asking the board for feedback earlier in the process. The hope is to make this a more iterative process. We know the budget will evolve over the course of the next several months, but we want it to evolve with the board's input and deliberate consideration rather than feeling rushed through the process in the third and fourth quarter of the year. Any questions, comments, concerns?
Okay. Start at this end of the table.
I like being rushed. I think that's why we have 2 meetings per month, I believe, during the budget process.
Well, we have, for 3 months, we have 2 meetings a month.
Yeah, for 3 months, we have 2 meetings a month. My concern is, and I think your intentions are good ones, but my concern is I tend to forget what I said in July or what I saw in July versus what's going to go in the document in October or November, December. So, you know, we've already got an enormously full board agenda. I'm just concerned it would add another item in June, July, August, September, and that would be my one concern.
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner Root?
I hate to disagree with an accountant.
I'm not an accountant. I am not an accountant. I might look like one.
But again, I rather like the idea, and perhaps we could streamline these conversations during board meetings, and if we had questions, then have breakout sessions if they were needed. So, yeah. Again, I think that's one of the most important things we do, and I think you agree with that. As far as, and I think it's really important that we all are very attuned to what is going on. So I thought it was a great proposal. Thank you.
I just want to clarify, because I think the order of operations, it's important to clarify what that accomplishes. We will still have October 2 meetings, 1 budget, November 2 meetings, 1 budget, and December 2 meetings, 1 budget. What we will be doing in June, at your request, is setting the tax levy. Okay, which we usually have done after we set the budget.
If I may clarify?
Sure.
Thank you. We will not necessarily be setting the tax levy. We'll be starting the conversation around the tax levy. Staff will present to you a couple of different options for discussion purposes. We will probably set the levy a little bit later on in the year once we've had some more thorough conversations. As you know, we have a deadline to file the tax levy the last Tuesday in December, and we have to ratify a levy no less than 30 days prior to that submission date.
we've also got a couple of other I guess regulatory requirements, right? If we exceed the 5% limit, we have to have a truth in taxation meeting, which is separate from other things. So there are other steps in this process that may come to the forefront as we go through this. And again, this will evolve over the course of the next several months, but we want to start the conversation earlier so that people are more informed and more thoroughly vetted as we go into the process. So yes, we will start discussing the levy in June, but we will not necessarily be setting a specific dollar amount at that point in time.
So the way that we've historically done it is that we've listened to the operating entities talk about their budgets, their operating budgets, their constraints, their capital plans, and we've come up with the budget from the operating entities themselves. And then we talk about how to prioritize, and then we talk about the tax levy. We've never missed a deadline for a tax levy. We've never missed a notification deadline, and we've never missed a budget publication deadline. Correct. Okay. So to me, it just seems like setting the tax levy first, and this will be the end of my comments, just so you know, I'm taking this just to clarify for myself. Setting the tax levy first seems premature. It's a conversation that we're going to have again after the whole budgeting process anyway. So I would say leave it until the end, because then we have all the information about what the actual requests are and what the actual underlying budget structure is. That's my recommendation.
President Drew?
Yes.
I just want to emphasize something that Jim said. The tax levy process has certain time requirements, so
Yes.
we can't make a decision in December.
Right.
We have to make at least a preliminary decision earlier than that.
Correct.
So.
Correct. We usually decide in November, right? We usually have decided in November.
And this, the conversation on this topic, again, is not to decide the tax levy in June.
Right.
It's to look at different options based on again, I'm gonna go back to community priorities and what that looks like as far as, is it more important to do the items that are in the strategic plan or the comprehensive master plan, or is it building a roller coaster that we just put in the capital plan? So is it something that we look at from the onset that gives staff a little bit of not locked in direction, but that consensus of, hey, we want you to go in this direction. We're okay with, if we want to go up to the 5% levy, or we want it to be less than that, or we want it to be the same as last year, or less than last year, or whatever the case may be, that at least opens that conversation so we as staff can get a better idea from the board as a whole on the direction we should be going in the budgeting process. So it's not to say that we are going to reduce services or not do current programs or anything like that, but I look at it as a further exercise to make sure that we are being strategic with our funding, that we are providing the best information forward as possible. And with that process, we're also able to look at some of the things that we are required to do by having a fee schedule come to the board to look at, which helps us build that budget in order to look at the revenues and everything that are coming in for the ice arena or for tennis or for paddle, whatever the case may be. So we're looking at that fee schedule itself. It'll also be the opportunity to bring forward the staffing plan and see what that appetite is for there. Because I could say, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this, and they're all needed.
Right.
But looking at it on what's feasible for the appetite of the district to to do at one point in time, or what do we need to look at in future years and that sort of thing. And I think it's a good exercise for involvement in that process, and that's just my philosophy on why we brought it forward in this direction.
I will just make one final comment, then I'll continue the circle around the table. To me, it just seems like the cart before the horse. I personally like the granular business information before I come to a consensus. Obviously, there's the economic backdrop. Obviously, there's the constituent backdrop. And obviously, as a group, we are not spendthrifts. So, we could have raised as much as $39 million. We raised $9 million because we knew we could service $9 million when we did the bond deal in 2020. We knew we could service $9 million. We knew $9 million was a good number. So we are a cautious group, and I would say that that's the overarching theme that most of us approach the budgeting process with. That's all I'll say. I'll go to Commissioner James.
You've got 2 new commissioners coming on at the end of this meeting. I think you should postpone it, keep to the regular schedule, let these commissioners come up to speed. I don't think they're going to be able to offer immediate valuable insight on the process. Let's stick to the prior schedule.
Okay. Commissioner Lawson?
Yeah, thank you. So it strikes me as an unorthodox process, which I would not recommend following. But to Commissioner James's comment, new commissioners who are coming online, let them make decisions along the way too. So thanks.
All right, so has everyone had a chance to speak, or did I miss someone? Did I miss you? Because you're right next to me. Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
Let's settle in. No, so I really appreciated the effort to put together a process timeline. I kind of have some of the similar input to Christina, but I do feel like, and the levy is one component of this, but I do feel like getting some direction on some of the major budget assumptions earlier in the process is good. Like, what do we think the merit increase should be? Have we benchmarked, what do we think the overall staffing increase is going to be? Philosophically, our approach has been, we max the levy to whatever it can be, and then we have a huge surplus. Is that the right thing? So I think like some of those bigger discussions earlier on might be helpful. Or as budget accuracy, direction that we want to go. Because I feel like we have consistently, since I've been on the board, delivered these huge surpluses, go team, but it continues to call into question, are we overtaxing our constituents for what? Like positions that we've budgeted and not filled, for example. So I think like getting a view on how we feel about that would be helpful. I think giving staff some direction. I mean, I personally thought that our approach last year of comparing budget to budget and not forecasted actuals to new budget was not the best approach, because again, it puts us in a position of continuing to overtax and generate surpluses, because we are building a budget on a budget that already had a bunch of surpluses built in. So I think that getting, big picture views from the commissioners on some of those things earlier on might be helpful in informing the way that the budget is prepared going forward through the process.
I just want to clarify that the operating surpluses are fairly modest. The accumulated surpluses are substantial, and that's largely a function of the bond issue and the not as yet completed plans at Elder and Centennial. Do you agree?
I don't know, I would need to have it explained more to me.
Okay.
I just look at the financial reports and I see 3 million
Yeah.
in surplus, and I'm
Yeah.
not looking at the breakdown.
It's a
And
timing
I
issue.
saw 2 million
Yeah.
last year and 2 million the year,
Right. Yeah.
So I think
understand.
having that laid out would be helpful.
Right, I understand what you're saying on that, and it's a timing issue. And then, Jim, I know it's a big ask, but if you started to look at your expenditures and your budget, instead of doing straight line, divide by 12, tracked revenues and expenses. We charge people for parks programs before we pay our employees
Yeah.
who are who are rendering those services. So that's the mismatch. That's why you show a big surplus early, and then it balances out at the end. Yes.
It doesn't balance at
Yes.
the end,
Well,
Warren.
yes,
We
yes,
accumulate
we've had operating surpluses, but I'm here to tell you, it didn't always used to be that way.
Yeah.
It was, so you've lived through a few years with really good results because we've got some great team members that are operating their business units or their enterprise units like a business, which is good. It wasn't always that way.
If I may make a comment, I want to add on to what Warren just said. A lot of the summer programming, we're collecting the registration fees now. But we haven't started paying our seasonal staff yet. We haven't started paying for a lot of our programming costs. What you'll see next month is significant costs going out the door for semi-annual debt service payments.
Correct.
Right, so the timing issue is important, right? The 3 million surplus you're seeing now, it will dwindle significantly over the next couple of months as the costs start to catch up to the revenues. The revenues always precede the costs.
Correct.
So that was a good point.
Okay.
But at the year end, we have still had significant surpluses. Like, timing issue aside, in December, it's still been a significant number. So I think understanding that a little bit better would be
Right,
helpful.
I just want to clarify, it's good that we run profitable operations, but the bulk of that surplus that remains in these accounts at the end is the money that we have raised for the beaches. So, and that's the money that we've segregated for the beaches. So I don't want people to think that we're overtaxing because we're trying to get to a place where we can actually execute on that. We have a slower process now than we did, and for that reason, I'd say fine. But I am also open to the idea of tabling this until the 2 new commissioners come on board. So, to be continued? Tabling until the new commissioners come on board. There's not an action item here. We can,
Hey, my goal is to take this to midnight tonight.
okay, there you go. We
We've
can do it.
got 2 meetings.
Here we go.
we got
Warren
two
and
board
Eric.
members. We're bringing them in the right way. It's called midnight.
Yeah.
I've got an idea. I apologize. I
yeah.
said I was not going to talk a lot tonight,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I got a good idea. Christina, you and I talked about some of these committees. What about study sessions? This is a wonderful idea. I think June's too early to figure out where we are in any, it's just too early to know where we are even this year. How do we even think about where we're gonna be next year? Because we don't know where we are this year. But a study session, I know that requires another meeting.
No, but I mean, we could make it the first meeting in September is not 100% budget. It's a study session on the budget. We talk about the overarching themes before we get into the granular.
They can get some feedback from us in terms of,
Yeah.
that's just a thought. It can be ignored, but
Okay.
one thought.
I like the idea of a study session. Does anybody else want to comment? Eric?
That might be a good idea for the new commissioners and.
Okay. So, and I'm saying study session in September. That's my approach.
Oh, absolutely, make them attend more meetings.
Excellent. Okay. All right. Well, we could probably make it within the 2 scheduled meetings. One of those is a committee of the whole / study session. That's not a problem to stretch that. Commissioner Ritt?
Yeah, that's fine. I just think we should be giving some high-level direction on the large items. Like, making sure that we're not in a scramble on the merit increase, for example, or other certain things.
Commissioner Tyson, any comments?
That study session idea works fine for me. I'm just curious, the additional meetings, there are 3 currently scheduled, right? It's
Right, this
October,
would be-
November, December, and you're
Yeah.
thinking adding a 4th in September ahead of those, or you're combining into the October?
I would either take the first October meeting and make it a budget study session with a big theme. Or I would add a meeting in September, but I would much prefer to add it in October as the kickoff to the budgeting process.
And we still have our 2x2 or whatever,
Yes.
it works out to be detailed
Yes.
meetings to go through the budget and
Yes.
ask questions.
The benefit, if we just do a study session on the budget, Crocker's patiently sat here for 2.5 hours before his damn live item came up,
Yeah,
okay? So, study session, budget only, 1 hour, hour and 15 minutes. We get a little smarter, they get some perspective, move on.
Okay.
And then we're out of here at 7 o'clock. So I would, if he wants to do it a little bit earlier, we want to be a little bit less rushed, we can do it in September or probably not August,
Yeah,
maybe,
okay.
you know.
September, fine, okay. Does anybody else have any other comments? Okay, do you have enough direction? Do you have enough?
Council does.
Okay, yes,
Just one comment about the
Yes.
discussion about the surpluses.
yes,
Policy 7.32 is the board's fund balance policy.
correct.
And so each, we don't look at the surpluses on an agency-wide basis. We look at them on a fund-by-fund basis.
Correct.
Under fund accounting. And so looking at raw numbers is hard because unless you know what you're looking at, comparing it to as an expense for the year, it's, the fund balance policy is a percentage of the annual expenses.
Correct.
So
25%.
that's the framework that is typically, we look at these things.
Right. 25% is the required fund balance to be maintained in each of the funds to ensure your ability to cushion operating expenses. Okay.
Or tax delays.
Yes, or tax delays. Okay. All right, so we have direction on that. Perfect. Asphalt paving, Greg.
Yes.
Do you want to go through the whole thing, or do you want us, since I'm assuming everyone here has read it, I'm going to ask for a motion, and I'm going to ask people to bring their questions in the discussion. What do you think about that? Okay. May I have a motion for staff to proceed with Chicagoland Paving Contractors to complete the asphalt paving work at Crow Island Woods and the Green Bay Trail for the total bid amount of $60,000?
So moved.
Root, second.
I'll second it.
Seaman, discussion.
I just wanted to bring up on this item, and one of the reasons why I wanted it to be on new business is to be able to really put it out there how awesome it's going to be to have Crow Island Woods parking lot and driveway paved.
Yes.
So we're not gonna have the potholes, and it's gonna be great for people using the log cabin, or even going to the school or using the park. So I was really excited for this. So that's why
Yeah, the neighbors will probably like the less dust.
yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So we're very excited about paving.
Perfect,
Been
okay.
waiting 29 years.
There you go, perfect. Is the Green Bay Trail component our obligation?
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that. Any other discussion items? Okay, we have a motion and a second. That's a roll call vote.
Commissioner James?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Rapp?
Yes.
Commissioner Root?
Yes.
Commissioner Seaman?
Yes.
Commissioner Tyson?
Yes.
Commissioner Poto?
Yes. Probably wishing we moved you to the earlier on the agenda. Executive Director's report. Commissioner, Executive Director Nazal. Reports.
Okay, all of the status reports, the legal expenses are in your packet, as well as the golf club report. In addition, for the Winnetka Golf Club, just an update for food and beverage, which I know has been a concern right now as we're starting the season. So all of the new equipment was recently delivered and just hooked up. And the Kemper Sports has recently hired a new food and beverage manager, and menu is being finalized, and food and beverage will be up and running by the end of next week.
Okay, end of next week. Perfect. Okay.
I had questions about
Yes.
golf. What is the status on the golf summer camp? Because I am concerned that we are sitting here at the end of May without a golf summer camp offering available for registration.
I have a draft independent contractor agreement that's in negotiation right now.
Okay. And then also, for Kemper, I mean, are they planning to come and do like a mid-year presentation for us?
We should.
Because I feel like it's been a long time since we've seen them. We're partway through the season. I think that they should be coming in. I mean, I personally would be interested to understand resident versus non-resident rounds, utilization of the par 3, utilization of the 18-hole, what's the profile of people booking all these special events? I mean, I just think they need to come in and talk to us.
That's fair. I think, do you want them June, which is still early in the season, or July, which is a good midpoint?
I would like them July.
Okay. We can put that on the agenda. Okay. It wraps that up for you? Okay. Commissioner comments. Please limit your commissioner comments to 3 minutes. I'm going to start with Eric Lawson.
I did have a few comments to share, but I don't follow up to do it later, so.
Okay.
What would you do?
Totally up to you. There's a presentation, but there's not a proclamation section of the agenda. But,
Eric, for what it's worth, I intend to deliver my remarks at this time.
okay.
Great, thanks, Warren. I'll do likewise. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, at this time, yeah.
Yeah, at this time. So,
Yeah, I mean, Eric, you can go?
yeah, so Eric, you can go ahead. If you're going to match Warren, then Warren's delivering now.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood that.
Yeah.
Well, since it's my last meeting and we're closing in on the 3-hour mark here, I just want to apologize for missing my final Winnetka Park District meeting after 8 years, or approximately 185 meetings, and unfortunately, I'm traveling for work this evening. But before I depart, I just would like to say a few things. First, I'd like to thank my current and former commissioners for their partnership, commitment, and friendship. Meeting all these individuals was something that would never have happened without being a commissioner, and I truly believe I'm a better person for it. Second, I would like to thank the residents of the Winnetka Park District for trusting me in this incredible role for the past 8 years. While we may have disagreed on topics, I hope I always presented myself as being open-minded and willing to learn more. I hope you all, I want you all to remember that there is never a perfect plan, and working together is the only way the village of Winnetka will move forward, and that is desperately needed. Third, I would like to thank my family, specifically my wife Meredith and my children Jack, Shep, Clint, and Teddy. It's hard to believe how young they were when I started as a commissioner, as well as myself. At the time, they were only 7, 5, 3, and 1, and now I turn around and so much has changed. I missed many Thursday evenings with my family over the years. Inevitably, Thursday nights present themselves with a lot of preparation for quizzes, tests, homework, coupled with activities and other various social events. And so I appreciate their understanding and support. I wish we had accomplished more for the Park District for my kids and for their peers to enjoy. That was my simple goal when I started in 2017. Nonetheless, I'll always cherish the memories of riding in the 4th of July parade with each of them and enjoying all the wonderful activities offered by the Winnetka Park District. And finally, I would like to thank the staff of the Winnetka Park District. These are the true heroes of our community who make our village a better place for all of our families every single day. And I would like to remind all of our commissioners, the staff does not need the board, but the board desperately needs the staff. Every single day, the Winnetka Park District staff shows up with energy, enthusiasm, and selflessness. The Winnetka Park District is the greatest asset in our community, and the dedicated staff of the Winnetka Park District are the reason our families all thrive. So once again, to one and all, thank you for the opportunity. I hope we all can continue to work together and make Winnetka a great place. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very nice. Okay, next, Warren James.
The Winnetka Park District is a remarkable organization. It's a central feature of what makes Winnetka such a desirable place to live. Park District is comprised of people, programs, and places, including approximately 35 full-time employees, dozens of programs, and 26 properties. I want to express my thanks to the staff who put up with me for the past 10 plus years. who despite challenges of COVID, long and challenging meetings regarding Elder Centennial, have persevered to deliver exceptional programming and events, all the while improving the fiscal performance of the agency. My son was in 5th grade when we kicked off the Lakefront Master Planning process. He graduated from college last weekend. I've known 5 different executive directors, 3 directors of recreation, and 1 goes to Catulus. Shannon is the right person at the right time to lead this organization. Lisa consistently delivers all the recreational programs. And Costa, his commitment and leadership are something to be celebrated and acknowledged. For more than 24 years, he's risen through the ranks from a mechanic at age 19 to director of parks today. I consider him a friend. But there are so many more that deliver the results. Taylor, Jim, Beth, Kate, Skylar, Lisa, Andy, Matt, James, Toby, Deb, Greg, Rick, Pat, Joe, Alexander, Paul, James, and Miles from the Kemper sports team. These and many other are the people that do the heavy lifting day in and day out. And I want to thank you for your commitment to the Park District. Last year, when we voted to reinstate the printed brochure, I was concerned about the cost. Upon reviewing the summer brochure, I'm so glad we did. I meant to bring it. There's something in here for everyone. And the breadth and depth of the recreational programming is truly remarkable. This weekend, we'll celebrate the memory of those who made the ultimate sacrifice to our country with a fitting tribute at the Village Green and the Cenotaph. The beaches will open, the Park District employment will swell by more than 200 seasonal employees, where many of our children get their first summer job. This is the time when the Park District shines, highlighted by the Independence Day Parade and celebration. There's so many incredible opportunities provided by the highly competent professionals that serve the Winnetka Park District. I really enjoy this time of year. The weather starts to get better, cross your fingers. The people come out of their homes. They fill the parks and beaches. If you want to understand the role of the Winnetka Park District, I encourage you to take a walk. Visit Dwyer on a Sunday afternoon to see the young families enjoying the playground. Visit Hubbard Woods Park on a summer Wednesday evening. See the kids in the splash pad and the families gathering, enjoying music in the park. Visit Tower or Lloyd on any given weekend and join the beachgoers soaking up the sun and enjoying the majesty of Lake Michigan. Visit the turf field virtually any time and you'll see groups large and small taking advantage of the space. That's just scratching the surface. There's A.C. Nielsen tennis, paddle courts, golf courses, ice arena, and so many beautiful parks and open spaces. I'm a regular at Crow Island Woods with my dog. We're so very fortunate to have access to all these venues provided and maintained by the Winnetka Park District and its highly competent staff. On your walk, you'll see some of the 14,000 people that the Winnetka Park District serves. Our boundaries exceed the village. Maybe you'll see an aspiring golfer hoofing it down the street with a bag over his shoulder to play at 9 in the par 3, kindergartners playing AYSO soccer at Little Duke, or on so many evenings, tennis players that I've noticed, tennis players coming out of A.C. Nielsen invigorated by their match. There are many moments that create the sense of community. Last spring, I took a walk to the new baseball fields to see the son of a friend play in one of his last varsity baseball games. The place was packed. New Trier Loyola, varsity, JV, girls varsity, all at the same time. The new parking lot on Cherry was full. Everything was going on. There's satisfaction in knowing that the village, the Park District, and New Trier all work together to make it possible. Likewise, teeing off on the first tee in the new golf course last August, you've never seen such perfect grass. It was amazing. I felt bad. I didn't want to take a divot. Flipping burgers with John Peterson down at Lloyd, the Step and Boat Launch. You know, these are just the moments that make service worthwhile. Standing on the bluff overlooking Lloyd on that June afternoon, maybe you've seen the picture I snapped. It was totally happenstance. I was on one of my walks. It looks so perfect. It looks like a rendering. These and many similar moments, watching people enjoy the fruits of our efforts, make service worthwhile. Yeah, I'm disappointed we didn't accomplish all that we set out to do, but I'm honored to have served and appreciate all that together we did, all that we did to accomplish it together. I have confidence that the new board members to be seated tonight will carry on and service the community, and I offer this advice. Be good listeners. Seek to understand. When it comes time to make decisions, trust the staff, and remember that you represent 14,000 constituents, nearly 4,500 households. If 10 people to show up to address a specific issue, remember that there are literally thousands more at home that have entrusted you to represent them in the interests of the entire community. A former board member told me long ago that when she stepped up to serve, her father asked, "Do you have too many friends?" Many a truths are said in jest, but candidly, I've made a lot of new friends along the way. To my fellow board members, thank you. I know I'm not always the easiest to work with. I've learned a lot from my service, and I've made a lot of new friendships that I'll treasure for years to come. I look forward to seeing you all on that walk.
Okay, now I'll pick our next most eloquent commissioner, David Seaman. If you'd like to say anything in commissioner comments?
Are we saying comments about
We
Eric
have-
and Warren,
We
or?
have proclamations.
So-
These are your commissioner comments.
I have no commissioner comments, but I have comments around
Yes,
Warren.
okay, perfect. Why don't you go ahead and make your comments around Eric and Warren right now?
Well, do you
David.
want to make serious commissioner comments?
No, I was gonna say in the interest of time, but
Yeah.
Madam Chair, what I would really appreciate is before we do the proclamation, if we might have a little break.
Let's do the commissioner comments and
I have
take a
no
5-second break,
commissioner-
okay,
I'll wait for my comments and.
okay,
Pass.
okay.
I see Mickey, and it makes me think about Green Bay Trail. So if anybody's interested in helping out, we are doing some work on the, let's see here, the eastern side bluff, on the side of the trail there, trying to move debris. We do it almost every Wednesday, but if you want to get involved, feel free to reach out to me, and I can connect you with the right people.
And new plantings.
And new plantings are coming up.
Thank you. Commissioner Rowe?
So we are doing our appreciation for Warren and Eric after our
After the break.
after the proclamations.
Yes, well, yes, I was, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do them
I-
after, that's
I've given
fine.
so many comments already, I don't have any further comments.
Okay,
So.
fine. All right, let's do this. We have a guest presenter, so let's take a 3-minute break. Let's return, and then we will have the proclamations, and then we are close to adjourning. So a 3-minute break, we will resume.
Oh.
I'm gonna read your proclamation first.
And then you can pick up.
Every time they say Lisa. I know. Every time they say Lisa, I like, oh, I answered everything. Me too. Alicia, Eliza.
Okay.
All right, we're recording again.
Okay. Be it resolved, the Board of Park Commissioners of the Winnetka Park District and all its citizens express to Eric Lussin their gratitude and appreciation for the invaluable service given as Park Board Commissioner. And whereas for the past 8 years, he has been actively involved in all phases of the Park District operations and policy settings and has contributed greatly to the Board of Commissioners. And whereas Eric Lussin has been a tremendous supporter of the Winnetka Park District, its staff, and the broader community. His continued dedication, advocacy, and leadership have been instrumental in advancing numerous initiatives that benefit residents and enhance the quality of life in Winnetka. Eric's unwavering commitment to both community and staff is truly exceptional. His term as Park Board Vice President and support with liaison roles was a complement of that. And whereas Eric Lussin has made a significant contribution towards many of the park projects and initiatives, including but not limited to 2017-2022 strategic plan implementation, executive leadership transitions, Dwyer Park master plan and development, stormwater planning and implementation, Winnetka Golf Course, Winnetka Golf Course Kemper Sports Management transition, tennis court resurfacing, outdoor and indoor courts, AC Nielsen Tennis Center roof replacement, Indian Hills shelter improvement, Tower Road, Park, Stairway, and Bluff renovation, Lloyd Beach Headland Beach System, Lloyd Boardwalk paving, and boat storage improvements, LED lighting installation, tennis ice arena paddle, lakefront interpretive signage, School District 36, intergovernmental agreement, new platform tennis court 7 and 8, Crow Island Woods land transfer, School District 36, Nick Corwin playground renovation, Nick Corwin and Little Duke irrigation system installation, Hap Road playground renovation, Elder Lane and Centennial Park and Beach planning process, 2025-2035 comprehensive master plan planning and engagement. Whereas Eric Lussin has been very responsive to the citizens of the Winnetka Park District with regard to their desires and concerns pertaining to Park District projects, and has selflessly served to provide excellent Park District facilities and programs for the community. And whereas his great leadership, passion, levity, diplomacy, professionalism, and diligent work with the board and staff will continue to inspire a higher level of leadership throughout the Park District. Now therefore be it resolved that this sincere expression of appreciation and gratitude for his outstanding service be a matter of record of the Winnetka Park District, and that the original of this resolution shall be presented to Eric Lussin, adopted this 22nd day of May, 2025. May I have a voice vote to approve this resolution? Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. There's a great picture of Eric in his golf cart with his kids at the golf course. So we'll be presenting this, we'll be bringing this over to your home, as well as a framed copy of the resolution. Now we hear it. So I would like to ask Nikki Archambault to come forward as a guest presenter. And I will share this.
Yeah, they couldn't find any walls to read this, so. Went to the bottom of the barrel and who did they find? Anyway, so would like to make a couple of comments before I read the resolution. First and foremost, for the new board coming in, obviously wish you great success. I hope the very first act that you do is to approve some money so you can get a better damn sound system.
Already done.
Already done.
Already done, already done.
Well done. Way to go, Elise and Scott. If I had been on the board, you could do that. So a couple other comments. One, I harken back to 2 years ago when it was my time where everyone was saying, get your butt out the door, we're tired of you. And to hear all the nice things, so it brought back really good memories. So comments about Eric and Warren. I served with you guys 6 years on board. It was a pleasure. Eric, I have never found anybody who listens as well as you do, contemplates as well as you do, and when you come to speak, you talk common sense. It's a remarkable skill. I applaud you for that. Very, very appreciative of your time on the board. I think you accomplished a whole lot, taught me a lot about trying to be patient, which I'm not, but tried. Thank you so much for your service. Warren, don't know, you're welcome, brother. Warren, almost don't know where to begin. Same thing, 6 years on the board. I have never in my life seen anybody as passionate as you for wanting to get stuff done. And doing so, excuse me, and doing so for the benefit of a community. Your countless hours, your unbelievable passion, your stick-to-itiveness for everything is remarkable. Never seen anybody come close. Thank you. Last but not least, Warren's learned another lesson. So shortly after I was off the board and Warren was president, you'll laugh at this, but one of the things you have learned is before a meeting, you learn to, quote unquote, pre-vent, so that you wouldn't vent at a meeting. That was awesome. Glad you learned a lesson. I think it worked well. I'm glad to see you smile at that, and you've still done it ever since. So a lot of things to have learned. I will read this resolution. It's remarkable, the amount of accomplishments. You contemplate, and I'm sure you and Eric have done the same for the last few months, and certainly before tonight's meeting, and you think back 8 years. And it's pretty remarkable. Going through it seems like forever. When it's done, it's a flash. It's done. It's like, wow. So, my honor to read this resolution. Be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of the Winnetka Park District and all its citizens express to Warren James their gratitude, appreciation for the invaluable service given as a Park Board Commissioner. And whereas, for the past 8 years, he has been actively involved in all phases of the Park District operations and policy setting and has contributed greatly to the Board of Commissioners. And whereas Warren James has been a strong advocate for the Winnetka Park District, consistently demonstrating deep commitment to the staff, the organization, and to the broader community. His leadership, insight, and collaborative spirit have played a vital role in advancing key initiatives that have made a lasting impact on Winnetka. In his tenure, Warren served many roles, including Park Board Vice President, Park Board President, and several liaison roles. Warren was instrumental in fostering cooperation with the village on several significant projects, particularly in aligning stormwater management strategies between the village and the Park District. In addition, Warren served as co-chair of the Winnetka Waterfront 2030 Master Plan, helping to shape the long-term vision that led to a successful completion of major lakefront improvements and laid the foundation for future enhancements. And whereas Warren James has made significant contributions towards many park projects and initiatives, including but not limited to, so here comes the list. Co-chair Winnetka Waterfront 2030 Master Plan in 2014, 2017 to 22 Strategic Plan, Executive Leadership Transitions, Dwyer Park Master Plan and Development, Golf Course Stormwater IGA Liaison, and part of the negotiating team. Stormwater Planning and Implementation, Winnetka Golf Course and Crow Island Park. Winnetka Golf Course Kemper Sports Management Transition, Tennis Courts Resurfacing, Outdoor and Indoor Courts, AC Nielsen Tennis Center Roof Replacement, Indian Health Shelter Improvement, Tower Road Park, Stairway and Bluff Restoration, that's half the list, Lloyd Beach Headland Beach System, Lloyd Boardwalk Paving and Boat Storage Improvements, LED lighting installations, tennis, ice arena, paddle, lakefront interpretive signage, new platform tennis courts, numbers 7 and 8, Winnetka Boy Scout Troop 20 supporter, playground refurbishment, support Ghana, Africa, great trip, Nick Corwin Playground renovation, Nick Corwin and Little Duke irrigation system installation, Hap Road Playground renovation, and finally 2025 to 2035 comprehensive master planning and engagement. Whereas Warren James has been very responsive to the citizens of the Winnetka Park Districts with regard to their desires and concerns pertaining to Park District projects and has selflessly served to provide excellent Park District facilities and programs for the community. And whereas his great leadership, passion, levity, diplomacy, I had to pause on that one, professionalism, and diligent work with the board and staff will continue to inspire a higher level of leadership throughout the Park District. Now therefore be it resolved that his sincere expression of appreciation and gratitude for his outstanding service be a matter of record for Nowaka Park District, and that the original of this resolution shall be presented to Warren James. Adopted this 22nd day of May, 2025. Congratulations.
And I think all in favor say aye.
Aye. And I love you.
I love you, brother. Thank you.
I want to do a picture with Warren and his things.
Oh, yeah, perfect, here. Amy, do you want to come up and
Yes.
hold
I
some
just
things
want to
with
say
Warren?
I just want to say one thing.
He's got a lot of things.
I want to thank my wife. Truly, Nikki's right, there was a lot of preventing. And who do you think was on the other end? My beautiful bride. And I would not have made it through without you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, do we want to go around the circle and make comments about Eric and Warren and thank them?
Can I go first?
Yes, you may.
Eric, are you still on the line?
I'm still here, David, yeah.
He's
You know,
pulling out a 15-page document, so you gotta settle in.
You know, sometimes you meet people in your life, you say, you know what? I want to be like that cat, right? Eric, in board meetings, I want to be like you, man, all right? First of all, you're about 15 years younger, you got a lot of hair, but as Mickey was saying, you are always thoughtful, open-minded, solution-oriented, and always trying to find that solution that is in the best interest of the broader community. So I want to thank you. I'm trying to learn to be like you my second time around on this board. So thank you so much for everything.
Thank you, David.
Now, Warren, I was thinking about you. I've spent some of the worst times of my life with you. I mean, they were the worst times of my life. I'd get home at midnight. I'd lay in bed for 2 hours. And I'm like, what am I doing with my life? So, I mean, I didn't know you before I joined the board. I can't imagine this board without you. Again, similar to Mickey, no one's given more time, energy, expertise, passion to this board and this agency for what is for the best, I believe, the best interest of the broader community. I've learned so much from you, both my time on and off the board for the last couple of years. I feel like I know you pretty well now. We weren't friends. We were not. We were the opposite of friends, but we've become good friends. And thank you for your friendship. Thank you for everything, and I just wish you the best from this day on in Winnetka. So thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Root?
Starting with Eric, I sincerely commend and appreciate your service to this community, particularly with respect to youth sports. Because not only did you dedicate 8 years of your life to the Winnetka Park District, But I understand that you have been an integral member of the board during that time of the Winnetka Hockey Club. So to me, that is true community service and dedication. I really appreciate your, we'll say thoughtful, because you are thoughtful perspective that you've brought to this board and the contributions that you've made while I have served with you. And I just want to wish you and your family the very best on the path forward.
Thank you very much.
Commissioner James, it's obvious the Winnetka Park District has clearly been a meaningful part of your life, and it reflects your long-standing direction for the district during the years. I want to acknowledge the time and energy that you've devoted over this time. Public service brings with it both rewards and then challenges, and your years of engagement have certainly left a mark on this district. I wish you and your family the very best in the next chapter of your life. Thank you.
Commissioner Tyson.
Eric and Warren, 8 years. 8 years. I'm at 2 years. That seems like a mountain. And I can't say, just on my limited experience in the 2 years, you know, all of the time, all of the effort, all of the blood, sweat, and tears, both of you, different approaches, but also at the same time working as a team to add extremely valuable contributions. So I've learned from both of you. I plan to continue to learn from both of you and lean on you. So you know, I will be getting your personal contact information if I don't already have it, so I can continue to ask questions. So I want to say thank you for the guidance you've given me so far, and I hope at some point to be able to contribute 10% of what you've done at this point. So thank you to both of you. Thank you.
Thank you for the warm comments, Jeff.
Commissioner Rapp.
Okay. Commissioner Lesson and Commissioner James, I want to express my deep-seated gratitude for your service and commitment. It has required sacrifices. I want to express gratitude for all that I've learned from you. And the creativity and range of ideas that you have contributed to the district. Both of your commitment and recognition of the staff and everything that they do sets a very high standard for other commissioners to follow, and it's a good, helpful reminder of that. I look forward to running into both of you around town in other capacities, because it will happen. Warren, I look forward to loading the next container for Ghana in the future, and look forward to seeing you do other great things outside of the Park District as you have here. Eric, I know that you will continue to be a contributor in the community. I hope that you find solace in being able to reliably pick up your kids on Thursday nights, because I know that it has been challenging during your time here. And you know, it's been a pleasure to serve with both of you. I've certainly learned a lot. You've certainly, you know, tested, and I think it's been good. I think the district is better for it. And so with a debt of gratitude for your service, I wish you both well, and we'll see you around town.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I've reduced my comments to adjectives. So for Eric, I would say wise beyond your years, delivered insight with every conversation, excellent thought partner, sound judgment, calm and measured, a voice of reason here at the table. Very, very much appreciated. You will be sincerely missed. Thank you very much for your hard work.
Thanks, Christina.
And your energy.
Thank you.
Warren, passion, integrity, fearless, selfless, and relentless in the pursuit of what is right, in the pursuit of what is efficient, in the pursuit of what is cost-effective for the benefit of all of Winnetka. And I'm going to borrow some words from Andy Kripe from the golf course opening when he said, he might be a pain, but he's usually right. And so I thank you. It's been a pleasure to serve with you. It's been a pleasure to work with you. I've learned something in every conversation as well. So thank you very much, all of you. That brings a close to all of our comments. Unless, Eric, you want to say something about Warren, or Warren, you want to say something about Eric? You're good? Okay.
Love you, Eric.
President Coda, would I be able to say something?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely, yes. If anyone else wants to speak.
So Commissioner Lusson and Commissioner James, I've known you for, almost a year and a half, a whole year and a half. And I really appreciate that the trust you have put in me to lead this organization, and the trust that you put in staff to provide the best work forward and the services for this community, and the work that both of you have put in for this district is very commendable. It is selfless. It's a volunteer role. A lot of people don't realize that it's a volunteer role. You're not getting paid to do this work. So it's out of the, the goodness of your heart and what the best interest is of the community. And that shows in the work that you've put forward. And this community and this park district is absolutely better off for you being a part of this board. So thank you.
Thank you.
With that happy note, may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
At 9:27?
Eric?
Seconded.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We will reconvene in 2 minutes for the annual meeting.